Welcome to another video from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander.
And I'm Grant.
And today is our, we're going to call it the Essen Spiel 25 debrief slash kind of a travel log of
Northwest Europe
Euro
road
trip
show
we did, yeah.
trip.
Because it was awesome.
It was.
So, if you don't know, if you've been living under a rock, because I've been yapping about it for a while, we were very kindly invited to Spiel 25, and we were sponsored to go out there by Sound of Drums. So, huge shout out to them for making this possible. And we've never been to Essen before, and...
I've never been to Europe before.
No, you hadn't. Past tense
Yeah.
of that. And so we were like, well, let's go a few days early, do some bits, and then do the convention. And so that was kind of the plan, and we kind of executed that, and it was a lot of driving around furiously.
What did we do, like 1,200 kilometers? I think we had 1,300 kilometers.
It was something like that.
Doesn't actually seem all that much when you throw it into miles. It's like 750 miles.
Yeah, so I think we drove,
miles.
all told, about 20 hours, 22 hours.
Okay.
And some of it was slow, some of it was fast, so like...
Yeah.
It's funny, and this will come up probably. It was one of those things where every European we spoke to were like, oh my gosh,
yeah.
you're driving so much and you're trying to cram everything in. Which is true. Like,
Yeah. It was insane.
We were trying to do as much as we could. But also, like, that 20 hours was spread over about 5 or 6 days.
It was.
So really, it was like 2 or 3 hours of driving a day, which isn't that much.
Right.
And like maybe over an aggregate of that long, it is, but like...
Well, I just drove 40 minutes here.
Yeah.
Right? It's nothing.
And I drove, there was a time I drove from Orlando, Florida, back to here, nonstop.
Yeah, I've done that multiple times.
I don't know if I'd ever do it again. It wasn't
Yeah.
fun, but like, I did it.
I've driven as much as 27 hours straight one time.
I get that's...
We
Yeah.
went to Arizona to see Paisley's sister.
After 18 hours, by the end of it, I was like, I probably should have done it.
It's
But
crazy.
that's, like, we were trying to do a lot, and we did a lot.
Well, it's because it's not like we're going to go over there next weekend. Let's just head over next weekend.
And it was like, hey, we might never do this again.
Yeah, we had to get it in
We
while
don't
we
know
were there.
when we'll be back, so let's do as much as we can.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of the plan. So we're going to go through kind of, first off, kind of what we did beforehand doing our road trip.
So the travel log.
And then a bit
it.
of kind of Essen and what we experienced there, and what you could expect if you choose to go as well. So,
I think the first thing I would say, it was amazing.
it was
I think
wonderful.
everything about it was just phenomenally amazing. I had a great time.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And whilst I think I was, because I planned a very busy itinerary, but in a way of like we were just trying to see some stuff, but also like I was really conscious of trying to make sure that like we were having fun and it was still kind of a vacation.
Yeah.
And not just like cracking the whip and like it's a lot of work.
I didn't feel like that. I felt like we saw 3 to 4 places a day.
Yeah.
2 to 3 places a day, and I thought that was perfect.
Yes, and I think also the kind of ethos going into it was like, there's a couple of like the big things that I wanted to like. We wanted to spend like a good chunk of time, like a whole day in Bastogne and like in and around the Ardennes, and then we spent almost like a whole day doing Normandy and kind of some beach landings because there's a lot more to see. And that's that's a focus of interest for our channel here, and thought, hey, let's go see as much stuff as we can there. Whereas a few other things was a little bit whistle stoppy, so that was also something.
Well, some of the places we went to didn't necessarily have a lot.
No.
Right, like I'm thinking of Metz, that one little monument, and the one little cemetery.
Oh, yes.
As compared to Verdun, Verdun there was like 15 things we could have done, and we kind of chose the
and you could have spent all day there as well too.
But another one was Mons, a place that you wanted to go because that was kind of the first action of the BEF in World War I, and it was cool to see it.
And that's really like, we were there, I saw it.
Yeah.
There's a little bit, but that's, and so it was a lot of...
But we were there for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And then we We got back in the car and we made our way towards, I don't know, Holland, I think at that point.
We went to Waterloo after that.
Oh boy, that was the best.
Let's get into some chronology here. So we took a red eye Thursday night out of Chicago, flew into Frankfurt, and then just hopped in a rental car in Frankfurt. And basically, we drove from Frankfurt. We went kind of down into France, and then we went
up to
Belgium, and then back down through Paris up to Normandy, and then we went back across to Belgium, up through the Netherlands, and back down to Essen. That's the broad strokes of what we did. So,
and actually, that was a really good route, I thought.
I think it was as good as I could make it without it being like crisscrossing too much.
Well, I wanted to make like the First Airborne logo or something with our trip. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a lot of driving. It really was.
It was. So that first, like, we landed in Frankfurt like 7 a.m., hopped in the rental car, and just hit the road. And we zoomed across the border, and the first stop was at this very provincial village in Lorraine in France called Ouvrage-Hackenberg. And what's there, you say? There's one of the old Maginot forts.
Yeah.
And it was, first off, driving through that part of the country is wonderful, right? It's very quaint. It's very beautiful.
Well, I thought the smallness of the roads was amazingly cool.
Yeah.
But when we were going around them, sometimes you're like going around a blind curve, and you're like,
hairpin turn up a road, round a hedge, yeah.
Kind of interesting. But seeing the bocage was very cool because as a wargamer, I've heard about bocage my entire life. I've never seen bocage.
Yes.
Because they don't do that in the United States. It's just not the way we do it. But to see that and drive right by that stuff was really, in that provincial setting, was amazing.
But the village is real cute. There's some pictures. I'm probably going to put in a bunch of pictures and stuff as
well. You can go to the blog and you can literally follow this day by day by day.
And you should.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the times on Google of when the fort was like open
were incorrect.
Incorrect. Like, it says it's open for 15 minutes a day every day, which is not even true. But I had misread that. Like, I thought it was open every day, and it's not. It's like basically only open on a Saturday rather than a Friday. So, but like, we were able to go and drive up to it. It was just like the gates were locked, but like you can see the whole entrance to the fort. They had sections of the Mulberry Bridge that they'd kind of moved all the way over from Normandy. That was really neat. And like,
I did like the little statues they had. The one specifically was, I think it was an ode to all the troops that had died, or an homage, and it had all the faces that made up the base. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah,
because it represented all of those soldiers that fought and died there.
But even just like, you can see like the big entrance to the fort, and then there's like the gun.
What do they call those? There was a specific word.
Yeah,
and we said that about 30 times.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is either.
Something.
It's a cupola, I believe, is what it is.
Okay.
The rotating ones on top.
Yeah.
But it's awesome to see that like fort design hasn't really come that far since the Middle Ages, right? Like, here's the entrance to the fort. Here's the tiny little drawbridge.
Yeah, there was a little dugout.
And here's
trench.
all the enfilading machine gun ports, and and
lots
everything,
of concrete,
interlocking fire fields. But what was neat about it is, even though we couldn't go inside of it, the way that it's built into this massive hill, and that hill overlooks this huge valley in which is the small village, and it's just a bunch of these interlocking forts, and you can see on every hill they've got them. It was just so impressive. You know, that entire hill is empty, and there's basically an entire town inside of it.
Yeah.
Which is just amazing. But then,
it was very cool also. There were little railroad tracks going up to each of the entrances.
Yeah, where
they would have shipped in supplies or
ammunition, all that stuff.
Lumber or coal to feed the boilers and the heat. It was just really very interesting.
And then, like,
if they had heat, but I'm sure they did.
I'm sure they did, yeah. But then, like, you could kind of follow the track around the hill, and then there was like another entrance, and they had like all the old barbed wire fields.
That was neat.
Like, that's all like still there, and again, more just different fields of fire and different, like, hey, look, there's a strong point up there. There's a strong one. And they're all looking down. Like, it's really cool, even just to see from the outside. that was really neat. And it was also one of those things where you're like, and there's a lady walking her dog.
Yeah, it's pretty
that
funny.
Juxtaposition of that, like real, like lived history and like people still living there. I always feel a certain way kind of seeing that. It's just kind of intense.
How many times did we actually say, oh, and they just live here?
I mean,
because they just live there, where these huge battles happened, these conflagrations probably destroyed most of the villages.
Yeah.
In fact, lots of them we could see shell marks or machine gun fire. The Holland one was very cool. You could see it on the stairs, but they just live there, right? And they've lived there for millennia.
And it's like, hey, before 1870, they were part of France. After 1870, they were part of German. After 1919, back to being French again.
Yeah.
At 1940, back to being Germany. Like it was,
interesting.
Those border areas are so fascinating, both culturally and historically, and like that people still live there, and you can understand why, right? It's a beautiful part of the country. It's also one of the industrial hearts of France, that kind of northeastern province, and it's just, or northwestern, eastern, just stunning. So that was really cool. Then we hopped back in the car. And we drove.
Didn't we see that Wolverine parked out? I'm gonna screw it up. Wasn't it a Wolverine?
I'm pretty sure it was a Wolverine.
Okay.
It was either a Wolverine or a Jackson, and I don't know the difference between the two.
And we talked about it as probably gun size. Isn't that kind of the real difference?
Probably.
Okay.
Because the Achilles is the different. That's the
the Achilles definitely
that
looks a little different.
Yeah.
But anyway, there was a fully. It wasn't restored. It was a little weathered, but there was a Jackson / Wolverine.
Yeah, big old Gate Guardian right out front.
Now, that didn't necessarily have anything to do with the Maginot Forts, but I think they had a little plaque there that said, like, to the Allies who fought in the Ardennes, which was kind of cool.
Yeah. And
that was awesome. We saw a lot of tanks.
Yeah, a lot of Gate Guardians like that as well, just kind of sitting out, which is awesome. That's what I love seeing that stuff. So we drove on to Metz, and I wanted to stop in Metz because... at any cost, Metz 1870 is one of my favorite games.
That Franco-Prussian war.
And there was a big battle outside of Metz. And what was interesting is we stopped in the town center and like
saw the cathedral, which was St. Peter, I think, the St. Pierre Cathedral.
Yes.
They were almost all named St. Pierre. I don't know if you noticed that.
Yes.
But
we went into the cathedral. Unbelievable cathedral, right?
It was amazing.
We stopped in a lot of cathedrals.
I think we stopped in 4 or 5 at least.
And they're never not breathtaking, right? Just unreal. But we stopped there because that's right at the town square. We went into the little tourist office and like, hey, do you have any of those like Franco-Prussian war memorials? And the poor little 18-year-old girl was just like, what are you talking about? And so she was like, we got this and this. It was like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Google. So we had some lunch there. Beautiful old town. Really nice.
And that was my first kind of European food.
Yes.
Right? Was at that little... And I had a plate full of sausages and sauerkraut. It was really good.
I
didn't love all the sausages.
Some of the sausages good.
Some of the sausages were really good. And that sauerkraut was really good.
Tip top.
Very salty. Very well shredded. It was great.
Yeah, that was great. But we spent maybe 2 hours there, walking around the cathedral, seeing the old town, having some lunch. And then we hopped back on the road
for about 20 minutes, right?
Yeah, because we were going from there to Mars-la-Sur.
Latour.
Yes. And we went there because Franco-Prussian War Memorial that was there. But it happened to be that the road that we hopped on getting out of Metz to go to Mars-la-Tour, which is a very tiny provincial village, that there's no reason to go there. But like that was one of the main thoroughfares.
There is a reason to go there if you live there or you know someone there.
Sure,
but there's not a lot there.
Of the maybe 50 people that live there,
there's not a lot.
But like the road that we happened to be on was this really small provincial country road. But it turned out to be like we were seeing these kind of yellow bollards every half mile
with a torch, like a flaming torch and some writing.
Yeah, and so we had to like stop and slow down. Like, what is this? And it was the Voie de la Liberté, which is the
Liberty Road.
Liberty Road, effectively. And it stretches from Metz all the way to Normandy. And
followed the advance of the Allies.
Yeah. Totally happened on that road by accident, by the way.
Which was cool.
It was awesome. And we stayed on that road for a good chunk of that day as well.
At least
which was
a couple of hours.
Which was real neat. But we were following this road, and we ended up...
This was one of my favorite parts of that day specifically.
Yeah.
You're going to talk about the little...
I think that was after Marsla-Tour.
It was. So it was just after, sorry.
We pulled into Marsla-Tour, and, I mean, tiny little village, and I was furiously Googling, like, what the address of this war memorial is, because it just, that first couple of days, like, I don't know if the phones were struggling or the internet was struggling, it was like, where is this thing? And we got there in the end, and there's this tiny little village, and on the outskirts of it, this not insignificant,
fairly large
Franco-Prussian war memorial.
Yeah.
But it was in, like, the weirdest place.
Well, it was funny because it was oriented towards a certain direction. I don't remember, probably west.
Yeah.
Like, the entrance to the memorial was to the west, and you could see that there had been some development in that area with some new homes being built, and that entrance from the west was, like, cut off by homes. And then there was a home on kind of the northeast corner where there was, like, a trampoline right there, which we thought, wow, that's so fascinating.
And there was, like, no divide between them.
No.
It's effectively this person's garden, like, technically
was right here, and then there's a little road,
and then there's this huge war memorial.
Yeah.
It was so odd.
Yeah, it was,
and then there was, like, a road and a hedge on the other sides of it.
To me, it's like that had been forgotten, right? But it was kept up very well. But it was
very well maintained.
It was like those who lived around had no idea what it was, why it was there, and they just built a house right there.
And also, like, how many people go and visit that? Do
idiots
any
like
of them?
us, probably.
Are we the only ones, though? Like, I would love to know if anyone else has been there. Because, like, and that felt like there was a couple places we visited this time that were like, oh, we're the only ones.
Yeah.
Which was interesting.
Or the only ones that had been there in a long, long time.
Yeah. So, like, you know, we drove there, we got out, we kind of looked, took some pictures, enjoyed it for a few minutes. But again, it was like, it almost felt like I was intruding on someone's trampoline and barbecue, right?
Sure.
So I'm back in the car.
Yeah.
And then we were driving then to Verdun, which is where we were going to stay the night. And this is what you were talking about. Again,
the part that I very much enjoyed.
Still driving up this Voie de la Liberté. And we're kind of driving over the crest of, it's kind of lots of open fields, and it's kind of very large open valley. And just off to the right, a copse of trees surrounded by, like, a wall.
Like
with
a
some
stone,
fencing.
Concrete stone wall.
We're, like, pulling up to it, and at the corner of my eye, I saw a little sign, and it said, like, German cemetery or something. So I didn't quite slam on the brakes, but it was like, ah! Okay, we're going to stop. And then just kind of backed up and parked off the side of the road. And it turns out that we just kind of stumbled into this mostly World War I German cemetery. And it was so interesting because, again, in this really agricultural area, everything was like fields, a lot of which had been cut already because of the harvest. And then you just have this one little patch of trees, and it was filled with, I think, because we kind of went in.
2,900 soldiers were buried there, I think.
And I think they had like 500 or 600 had graves, and the rest of them were unmarked, with kind of a big mass grave at the end that had a kind of memorial on it. But it was really, really interesting because probably how many people stopped there. Because it couldn't be more out in the middle of nowhere. But it was extremely well maintained, very well taken care of. So whoever does that,
somebody takes the time to clear the limbs because there were huge, what I thought were almost like sycamore trees, but not quite sycamore trees. I'm thinking that's an American tree, but someone had cleared off those limbs.
Yeah, and
the grass had been cut. The weeds were trimmed back. The wall was in very good shape. I was actually impressed that the Belgians in that area would, because obviously it's not someone from Germany driving over. Maybe it is. Like twice a year.
Unlikely. It's probably the French have some commission that takes care of all that stuff.
I just thought that was very cool to see that reverence given to, even though they were an enemy, given to that cemetery with about 3,000 soldiers buried there.
And that was also very interesting cemetery because on all of the headstones that they had, it had a name and a date, which was all 1914 or 1918, basically. There wasn't much in between. But it also had a lot of their ranks or what do you call that? Like jobs? That's not the right word.
Classification or
yeah. So you had all sorts of, and that was just interesting to see. Like they, we know a lot about these people. It was over 100 years ago now, but like seeing the variety of different people and the things that they were doing, it was just interesting to have that extra little detail that I don't think a lot of, and maybe they do. Maybe I haven't visited enough cemeteries in my life, but like. I don't think a lot of places do that. They'll have like a name and a date, and that's probably it. But they had that extra little detail, which I just think made it a bit more. I appreciate it. Yes.
So I do want to point out, and I think I'm right. I'm trying to remember because we did see several cemeteries. Most of the headstones were crosses, but there were a couple stars of David.
Yes, in that one, yes.
Which I always, knowing what we know. 40 years later, it's always interesting to me because there were probably half a dozen stars of David.
Yes.
Which, just was interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's also a fascinating part of history in the 30s when it was like, wow, what do we do with all of the Jewish veterans who earned all these medals and are recognized as war heroes? That was a whole thing that was a very interesting piece of kind of that part of history as well. But that was one of those things that was just almost serendipitous. Just driving along, it was like, and like that's I felt like.
And I was very glad that we stopped.
Yes, the trip was littered with a few things like that, which turned out to be like real cool additions that you could never have planned for. I don't even know how you would find that on Google, right? Planning a trip.
Yeah.
So we left there. And then we kind of drove the rest of the way, and we ended up in Verdun, which is where we were going to stay the night. But we got there kind of around
2 o'clock.
Yeah,
I want to say.
And so, because that's a place where there's a lot of stuff to kind of see and do and appreciate, and we wanted to kind of see and do it all. So, in the village or town of Verdun, there is kind of a big war cemetery, which was really interesting. Because it has a lot of World War I stuff in it, but it's got a lot of World War II guys in there. And also...
Well, I think it was called, I want to say, the National Cemetery.
Yeah, like it was a national...
French National Cemetery.
Yes. But like there was memorials out front to like the
French Indochina War.
Algeria. And all sorts of other things as well. And I think what I appreciated the most about that is, first off, there were other people there, which was
there were.
It was. I don't know how to say this without sounding a certain way, but like, it makes me. I appreciate that there are other people out there like respecting and mourning those who gave that sacrifice, right?
Yeah.
I don't say like it makes me happy to see it, but I'm glad that that's not being neglected, right? But they had a monument in the middle of the National Cemetery, and it was. There's some pictures.
Well, it was specifically to World War I, right? Because on the four corners of the monument, it was like 1914, 1915, I can't remember if a couple of them had a couple of years.
So
but
the way that it was laid out is the monuments was surrounded by 8 specific graves. And I'm pretty sure they were all unknown soldiers. But
I think they were.
On the front of the monument, one of them is like not missing, but it's not there. It's vacant.
Yeah.
But
there's still a marker there.
Yes, and the marker specifically says this particular soldier who was known only unto God was disinterred and is now buried underneath the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. And that was, it uses language such that he's like on eternal vigil, which was, very, very moving. But spoiler alert, like we got to see that later.
Yeah, that was cool
and
to
I
link
thought
those.
that was a really, really important link.
And we didn't, that was one thing we didn't plan.
No.
We had no idea.
I didn't know that, but I'm so glad that I got to see that, because that kind of linkage and, well, not coincidence, but that was really neat to see. But that's kind of the National Cemetery in Verdun. We drove a couple miles. You go up kind of and wind around the
like
hill.
a rolling hill.
And you get to the, what do they call it?
Ossuary?
Yes. And I don't know how to pronounce that word.
I'm saying it incorrectly.
It's either an ossuary or a usury or something like that. But it's like...
Ossuary, I believe.
Yeah, but it's the extremely famous, very large... and again, we're going to call it the ossuary. That's what we're going to call it. But it's this massive, almost temple-like memorial under which is the remains of 100,000 men.
And we saw those remains looking through the windows, which
I did not know you could do.
No, that was a little bit unnerving, but also honorary for their remains.
It's definitely... And that sits atop the peak of a hill, of which you have thousands and thousands of French headstones of soldiers that gave their lives at Verdun. And so we spent a good amount of time walking through that, because you can pay to get in. And there's a part of it inside that's like a little museum, which had some very, very neat displays and
old uniforms and equipment and weapons and just very neat. Yeah. Medals were there as well.
A lot of stuff. But even driving up, there's so many different like pit stops here and there on either side of like, hey, here was a memorial to André Maginot, I believe is what his name was.
Yes.
Who fought in Verdun and then later built the Maginot Line. There was, you'd stop off and it's like, here's the remains of an old fort. Here's, a separate little monument for X, Y, and Z. There were hundreds of these things just everywhere. It's a very, very hallowed place. And that was a very reverent experience at the ossuary. But then we also drove you just kind of drive around the corner, and then you have Fort Douaumont, which is like, I think about Verdun Steel Inferno, that's like the nexus point, right? This is where so much of the fighting hinged around this axis. And it's unreal what's there, because it's not like you can dismantle it and take it apart, right? It's not...
What's there is there.
Yeah, and it's this huge fort built onto the top of this hill, and you can just go in it. You can go on it. You can walk around it. There's great trails in and around it, but it's here's the gun turret that it traverses around, and you can see the entirety. And it's it's got 360-degree coverage of everyone who could possibly be attacking it. And there's 3 of them in a triangular formation, and then there's 100 gun pits and turrets and portholes and things like that.
And that was just one fort, Fort Douaumont,
and that's one of so many that were there. But that one was in such great condition, and there was a lot of people kind of walking around. You could pay to go inside as well, although they had just closed, which was a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, I feel like we missed a lot of that kind of thing.
Yeah,
we just missed it, right?
Yeah, that first day was...
It was still awesome to climb around and walk on top, and the shell holes, walk down into the shell holes that had now grown over with grass and flowers and...
But yeah, the grass, even on the fort, it undulates with these huge pits, from shell holes. And if you look down kind of into the trees that surround, it continues that entire landscape is scarred like that.
Yeah.
In a way that's... It's really awe-inspiring about what these men went through to defend their kind of peace and liberty.
And also the destructive power of those guns. I mean, we did listen to Barbara Tuchman's Guns of August, at least a majority of it.
Yes.
And she was talking about the size of the guns, and particularly the German guns.
Yeah, some of those howitzers and mortars were.
And you can see the after effects of a shell that probably weighed more than you and I.
Easily.
Yeah. That would have hit and dug out, a 20-foot deep crater by 30-foot wide, and just insane, the destructive power of the weaponry that was used at that time.
Yeah. But, the fort itself is unbelievably impressive. You go right on top of it, and you can kind of see out at the vista that they would have looked over. That's incredibly impressive as well. But even just the road leading up to it, they had like the original trenches, like just lined
on the
road.
side. Yeah. And we got out and walked through those.
And there's just so much of that stuff that's just like original and is still there. And it's really such a unique experience to be able to do that stuff with, because it was a more modern than something like Napoleonics. There was so much concrete and metal that was used. It stands the test of time, and a lot of it's still there. It's just, there's a lot to ponder for sure.
Well, and then we went exploring a little bit. We drove down some. I think we were allowed to.
Oh no, we were.
It felt like we weren't.
We might have been the only people who've done that for a long time.
A little one-lane road that kind of wound back through the woods.
Road.
Yeah,
track.
Road, track. And we came upon Fort Souville, I think is what it was called. And it was an old fort literally up inside a hill that was wooded.
Kind of like the hill like adjacent to Douaumont.
The woods would have been gone at that time, right? They would have all been
I believe so.
Destroyed. Yeah. But we literally got out and could walk into the fort.
Yeah, and this one was in a much worse state of disrepair. But like, it's also like, it's like a camping site. Like people camp there.
Right.
Like it's just like an open park almost. Yeah. It was just, that was a little bit surreal. So like we kind of hopped out the car, turned the flashlights on, and you kind of...
Yeah, because it was about 6 o'clock at that point.
You can go in and walk around inside those, and
we saw the latrines. We saw some of the slits that you could aim out and look out.
Big storage rooms.
Storage rooms, ammo rooms. Somewhere there would have been barracks or bunks. But that was cool.
We could have gone further in, but also like, I like being alive. Like it was...
Yeah, we could have definitely pushed the limits of our abilities.
That's not...
But the one comment I wanted to make, there's always a reverence to me, and maybe it's me projecting that reverence.
I don't think so.
Any of these sites that we went to, whether they were kept up or not, there's an actual connective reverence to the event.
Yeah, people lived and died there.
Yeah, and we could feel that. I think we made I heard a couple of noises. I'm sure it's haunted. Right,
well,
I'm sure there's something there, but...
And it's also finding that balance between like, hey, this is where people like lived. They lived here. And what were they live, and being able to be like, like right here is where they lived, and like that, and
lived and died,
right? And then like taking it too far, right?
Yeah.
Where's that balance? But that was really interesting to see, and kind of be able to kind of explore inside some of that as well.
That was one of my favorite parts from that first day.
Yeah,
it was really amazing.
But I think that was pretty much everything that we did that's relevant to the channel. We crashed that night. Not crashed. We went to bed. Sorry.
Great experience with the hotel room. Just awesome.
Yeah.
You walk in, we had ordered 2 single beds. The beds are like pushed together.
Yeah.
And we're like, nah, we got to separate those.
So, and it was like a slanting A-frame roof. And
yeah,
so
it was very small.
Wake up, bang your head.
Not much there. And it was actually, what was it called? It was called...
The B&B Hotel.
B&B Hotel. And so we saw several of those throughout the different countries.
Yeah, it was like a small chain, which I didn't realize when I was booking it. But wonderful breakfast the next day, so can't argue.
Well, I did have Burger King. We had Burger King that night. Because it was so late, we just didn't, but we had Burger King. It was
one of the only places that was open, yeah.
And it was fun.
We had Le Burger King.
Le Burger King. I had a big, we didn't go to McDonald's, shut up, sorry.
No. But what was fun is that it's Verdun, right? It's not one of the big places. So we went in and I ordered on the digital thing.
Yeah.
And then I went up to go and like ask them a question. And they were like, oh, they speak English. And they got the one guy in the kitchen who speaks English, and he like walks up. He was so happy to get to use his high school English. He was they were like, oh, it was so fun. That was great. But we had a meal, went to bed. Very, very tired because,
we had not slept.
The sleep on the plane is sleep on the plane.
How long had we actually been up at that point?
I had slept for probably about 4 hours on the plane.
And I slept for
about as good as I could
hour and a half, maybe.
And so, we'd been up all of Thursday and then most all of Friday with a very short sleep in between.
Over 24 hours.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy. I was exhausted.
But that's, had a great night's sleep.
Yep, that was the best night's sleep of the time, I think. For sure. Slept right through. We went to bed at about 9.
I think I had a better sleep one time after that.
Okay. But we went to bed at 9 and got up like at 7:30. So, that was pretty amazing.
But that was great. It was a great first day. Second day, had some breakfast, lovely croissants. Great.
I ate some raclette, cold, like raw.
Cold raclette for breakfast.
Yeah,
very stinky.
Pretty pungent. Pretty pungent.
Yeah, and so that second day, we drove up to Bastogne. So we basically shot straight north into Belgium through Luxembourg. I believe we touched
Yeah,
Luxembourg.
I think we drove through it quickly.
But it was about a 2-hour drive. So we got up in the morning, had breakfast, and we were in Bastogne by like 9:30. And Bastogne, obviously, 101st Airborne were stationed there during the Battle of the Bulge. It's very famous for that, partly because of things like Band of Brothers that have brought even more prominence to it, you know, from like a cultural zeitgeist kind of thing. But it's a wonderful little town. But kind of as soon as we pulled in, we stopped at the Bastogne Barracks, I think is what it's called. It's this big complex. There's like a great museum that we walked through, which had some really interesting bits and pieces. I like the artifacts. When I go to a museum, I'm here for the artifacts. There's a lot of like recreations and presentations and things, which...
It's not necessarily what I want to do, sit there and listen to that for... You know, we listen to some of it.
Sure, but I've read enough books and watched enough documentaries where, like, that's not the part that I'm in it for. I'm here to see the real-life things and, like, get a gauge for the scale of what this thing looked like. Or, like, wow, this was a person's real thing that they held and that was theirs. And, like, what that meant to that person.
They had a lot of that.
And I get a glimpse into that person's life. There was a lot of that, which was very, very neat.
Yeah.
So that was like a cool museum.
And they did have one of the best, I think, displays that they had showed kind of the movement of the bulge. I'm trying to remember, remember the red and the blue, like projection? It looked really good.
Was that on one of the tables?
It was. It just showed
had a couple of those.
The movement of the bulge, and I thought that was really well done. And it was also cool to be in the basement where they would have been sending and receiving transmissions and communications, trying to guide the efforts.
Well, I think that's neat because it's built in the barracks that were used by Divisional HQ.
Yeah.
And they said that was also the former German barracks that the Germans had built earlier in the war.
Yeah.
Which was neat. But I think especially in the basement, you could see like the original bare bricks of and kind of those low kind of arched ceilings. Like, this is what they lived in. This is what they were doing. And it was right here. They had a different lick of paint on it, but that's what they were doing.
Yeah.
I think being in some of those places really brings a level of reality to those experiences for sure.
Well, and the famous nuts, right? To the American commander, you're surrounded, surrender. And then it's like, to the German commander, was it General Wentworth, or not Wentworth? I'm trying to remember the name. McCullough. He was like, to the German commander, nuts. And we talked, German because you lived in Germany. Yep. Them receiving that message, they probably would have tried to decode what are the Americans trying to say here? Like, nuts. Do they want peanuts, or what does this mean?
Yeah,
it would have just been a very interesting experience.
Yes,
but that word,
baffling, I imagine.
Yeah, baffling. But that word nuts was actually in the entrance to the museum, and I thought that was pretty cool to see that displayed the way it was.
That museum was neat because they had a ton of General McCullough's like accoutrements and like uniforms and things. Like
radios.
It was a museum. Half of it was a museum to him. What I really also liked in that museum was the B-17 reclamation. So there was apparently one B-17 that was shot down in the Battle of the Bulge, and some enthusiasts and historians found it maybe a decade or two ago.
Dug it up.
And so they have like the wreck of a lot of the stuff that they found. So you've got this like crushed up ball turret, you've got a propeller, and like some parts of it they've put all the old pieces back together as much as you can to recreate what it would have looked like, and then they've got like the real picture of it behind it.
Yeah.
That was very sobering, but also a really interesting, great kind of addition that like I wasn't expecting in the Battle of the Bulge Museum as well. That was really neat too. Yes, that museum was great, and then
there's also a brewery in the front of the museum, and I swear it was like paintball or laser tag.
Yes,
like up in the very front. I thought that's so.
And there was like a VR experience,
a virtual
thing,
reality thing. Yeah. So anyway, just kind of
a few touristy
things.
things.
Yeah.
But then like next door is the Bastogne Vehicle Reclamation Center, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts of Bastogne, honestly.
Oh, it was amazing.
It is effectively just a tank museum, and I had heard about it because so near where I used to live back home, there is the tank museum at Bovington. It's about an hour and a half away from where we used to live. We'd go there all the time. Love it. Love tanks. And when I'd seen kind of video of this kind of Bastogne tank museum, they're like, it's amazing, and it's like they've got so much good stuff there. And so we kind of walked around there, paid to get in there. And there was like 3 different massive halls just filled with armor and weapons.
And armor and artillery and support vehicles and armored cars. It was a little bit of everything. Trucks.
And that's what, again, that's the kind of museum that I like, right? Like I like to go and see the stuff. And they had so many different tanks. The variety was amazing from, it was mostly just... British and American and German. I don't think they had any Russian bits. They had a few Russian cannons, like artillery pieces, but I don't think there was any Russian.
Well, they had some Czechoslovakian tanks that had been captured by the Germans and used, right?
Captured, yes.
Right.
after the Czechoslovakia was annexed.
Yeah, right. Not captured, but annexed, yeah.
But that was just, it's crazy to kind of get up close with these giant machines that 4 or 5 people like living in basically, and what they were expected to do as well. And you just get an eye for the minutia of like, hey, here's this extra like armor plating, or here's these side skirts, or like here's the little machine gun port which has almost no field of vision whatsoever.
Or the main guns in the early tanks that are fixed.
The Lee and Grant tanks that do this, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. You can shoot in one direction and one angle. It's just so weird to me.
And then, and I also like that, you can, when you're seeing those things, next time I look at a counter, and I've got the defense value that looks like this, or this doesn't have a traverse value on its turret, like, hey, that's why.
Yeah, right.
I like being able to see the things and why we get the values that we do in some of our games as well.
I always wish that they had at least one vehicle that you could get into and climb on, and they never have that. And I agree. I'm not sure why they don't, but that's my opinion. There were 30 different tanks and vehicles in there. Could you have just made one that we could have got into? That would have been amazing.
Even if it was like one of the trucks or something.
Sure.
Like, because I understand that there's like a liability issue, but like...
Well... But have me sign a form. I'm paying to get into the museum.
But like,
I don't know. That's a personal thing.
I feel like when I was a kid, museums did used to have a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like I've sat in like the cockpits of a number of different aircraft at various different aviation museums.
And throughout the United States, at every VFW and American Legion building, there's always a tank or an artillery piece or an airplane. And I've, as a kid, climbed on a lot of those things, right?
Some of them
and
allowed.
Sat in their seats, whether they were allowed or not. But that's my only kind of, I wish that they had that kind of thing. Because it is amazing to see all of that. It really is. To touch it even, to smell it. Like, you saw me one time, like, I bent down, because you can smell the gas, because some of them are operating.
Yeah.
They're not on.
Or they're all just, like, chock full of oil. Like, it reeks of gasoline and oil.
Right, you can smell it, and I wanted to smell it. But anyway... That was amazing. I had a great time. We spent probably 2 hours in that museum.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite museums. I can't recommend that highly enough. If you like any kind of armor or artillery, and you happen to be there, that's the place to go.
Yeah.
Really, really, really well worth it. That was awesome. We then we had some lunch, had some nice baguettes in town. Wonderful. But we also visited the church in Bastogne, which is featured in the Band of Brothers. That's that church. It has since been restored. And I thought what was really interesting about it is that I feel like if you go inside the church, there's a lot of different displays, but only one of them...
Like one paragraph.
Kind of half mentions the war.
Yeah.
And I think they've really tried to keep it as like a house of worship.
But it's a place of worship, yeah.
But I think other places do lean into some of that other stuff.
Right.
But to me, it was very obvious they've made a concerted effort to be like, hey, sure, it's famous, but also this is a religious institution. I thought that was really interesting.
There was actually another museum in the town that we didn't go to.
No.
I don't remember the name of it, but I thought, oh, wow, I wish we could have gone
There was
to
a lot of museums.
We just didn't have the time.
No, because we went to the Bastogne War Museum, which was just kind of outside of town, a mile or two.
And is that owned and maintained by the American War? I can't remember. So many of them were.
Yeah, and a bunch of them are linked. So, because the tickets that we bought got us into the Bastogne Barracks, the Bastogne War Museum, and then the Easy Company Foxholes experience.
Yeah.
But the Bastogne War Museum, big museum about the whole war. So there wasn't just like a bulge kind of exclusive thing. And it is a very big, very impressive museum. I think, and I've got a bunch of pictures from there. I think one of my favorite parts of that was they had a Sherman inside that had been destroyed, but you can see how and where, and it's both very somber, but it's also it's very intense. But it's also fascinating as well. Of like, you can see why things were done the way they were done to try to avoid what happened to that tank.
Well, like you said, I think you said earlier, where they would weld on an extra skirt or an extra 4-inch plate of steel. It was just unlucky that Sherman literally took a direct hit.
It went right through the additional steel plate, then through the regular armor, and that steel plate's put there because right behind it is the racks of ammunition.
Yeah, so
and the Germans knew it.
Yeah.
And you can see this pit, it's probably about the size of a silver dollar, just this hole, and it's kind of wrecked. And you're like, yep, that's the entry point. And then the tank's kind of wrecked, and you go to the other side of the tank, and you can see it's just kind of all blown out.
Yeah.
That other side, and it splits across the welds, and it's just like probably no one survived that. But
no doubt.
But it's such an interesting seeing up close and personal. Like, hey, they were trying to do these things to protect their crews, and how you go about trying to disable that if that's what you're going up against. Those little extra layers of detail that, like, when I'm playing a game, you attack from the sides because the armor's weaker. Well, there's the example of it. That's why.
Well, and the other thing you had mentioned, like the skirting that was put on the Panzer, like the Panzer IV. You could see the skirting around the turret that's just intended to try to deflect something one time.
If you can tumble the shaped charge, it won't penetrate, and that's all it was for.
And the other thing I thought was interesting about the tanks that we saw up close and personal, were the angles. Like, hoping that a shell would hit the exact angle and be deflected. And that happened all the time, right?
Yes.
But to see that up close, run our hands on it, feel the angles, see the skirting, that was amazing.
Well, and the further, I also like that tank museum because you can see the progression from the early war tanks to the late war tanks.
Yep.
Where things became more sloped, more slanted, so you get more effective armor, inches wise, or you'd go to like casted turrets, which don't have those sharp kind of angles where bullets will get funneled into. It's a fascinating kind of progression of design for survivability, basically.
Yeah.
But the Bastogne War Museum was great. There was a lot of interesting stuff there, but it was a whole war museum that covers like a lot of, it even had like some Russian and some Japanese displays in there that were interesting. Yeah. Outside of the museum is a massive 5-pointed star memorial that was built. I think it lists all 50 states on it.
Yeah.
And it's built such that it, like, if you were to look at it from the top down, it's a big Allied star.
Yeah.
And it's huge.
Yeah, it was massive. Huge. And then also, there was kind of a vista. I'm trying to think how far it was from that monument. Maybe 100 yards or 200 yards, but you could see out that area of Bastogne, and they had like a little map showing, here's where the Germans were holed up, and here's where the Allies tried to counterattack. I thand
they're like, this is what this village over here, and they like have it drawn out. That's this village, which is where this happened.
Yeah.
And it's those little nuggets that I really like as well, because it just helps to bring into context hey,
Yeah.
why we're defending this, but what were they looking at? What were they going up against?
Yeah.
That was really neat. We left there, and then we went to the, what are we going to call it? So there was a part of the forest just like 2 miles up the road, and it's where Easy Company's foxholes were.
Right. Yeah, during the Battle of the Bulge and the Ardennes, it's a copse of pine trees.
Yep.
And they literally had the foxholes that are still, now they've started to fill in, but there were probably 30, 40 foxholes that were dug into the terrain there.
And it's like it's all the original foxholes, and it's, I think those Battle of the Bulge episodes of Band of Brothers are some of the most memorable.
Yeah.
But because it was running from foxhole to foxhole, sitting in there shivering, and here's the real things.
Yep.
And they have a little kind of faux virtual reality experience on your phone where you can kind of like, the tree has a little QR and you scan it, and it like has a little recreation with some reenactors, but they're like sat in those actual little holes and like doing bits and pieces. And there's a little story that goes on, which is fine, but even just walking around that copse, just walking up and down,
was amazing.
Really, really, it's kind of like, it is amazing.
Yep.
It's kind of like nothing else.
Well, and I think I had this conversation with you because I've actually being a farmer, tried to dig things in the winter.
Yeah.
And for them to try to dig those foxholes in late December would have been miserable.
I mean, just scraping for days to get to
But you could see, and some of those trees were probably original, some were newer. I don't know the growth cycle of a pine tree, right? Do they grow this much a year? But it was interesting, you could see where they were trying to use the trees and the terrain to create a foxhole that had a good view, but was also obscured a little bit by trees.
And what's worse than digging in the cold frozen ground? Digging in the roots in the cold frozen
Well,
ground.
It's that. And I dug in roots, and you're like, oh my gosh, you can't get anywhere.
Yeah.
And they literally hacked those out. And I think most of what we saw was mostly filled in. They would have been probably 3 to 5 feet deep.
Yeah.
And what we had there was a foot to 2 feet. Yeah,
1 or 2.
Deep.
And some were deeper than others, which was...
Yeah. That was fascinating.
But because of how protected those are by the tree coverage, it's amazing how well survived that those are.
Yeah.
But that's kind of been zhuzhed up. I think the other really interesting part of that is that when you go to the tree line, you can see straight down the hill to the village of Foy.
Yep.
And that,
which we drove to afterwards.
That was very cool as well, because they were, that's where they were holed up, and then they were like, hey, you have to go and assault Foy, and they could see it. Like, it was right there. It was that village. And you're like, oh, that was amazing.
Where Spears is running across that open field with the bales of hay, there were some bales of hay set, and I was like, oh, I can have an image of it in my mind.
Yeah.
And then we went down into that little village.
Yeah, it's just around the corner. We drove down there.
There's a little memorial outside of the church that had an interesting story where a GI borrowed or took or it was destroyed, right?
He kept the bell and something else for safekeeping.
Yeah.
And then returned them 50 years later.
And I think like 30, 40 years later, he came back and returned them, and they and it wasn't a big bell. Like, I think I was thinking, oh, he took
like a church
like the
bell,
whole bell. It was like literally
like
a
ceremonial bell or something.
Like a sounder that they would have used for mass or something. But that was cool to see those buildings and some of the pockmarks. And then we looked across the intersection to like an older building, and on the side, they literally had a photograph.
Yeah, like a massive like billboard size.
Of a tank, I think a Panzer.
Yeah, it was Panzer IV.
Sitting there. And someone had taken a picture. So they took that picture of the building with a tank in front and put it on the building.
Yeah, and the building's got no roof and no windows, and the tank's there. And it's on the side of it's been restored now, but it's still that same white building, but now it's got its roof. That was really
very
neat.
cool.
But yeah, and then just on the other intersection, it's this like, ancient Belgian building, farmhouse, that doesn't look like it was used, but it's been preserved, and it has all of the shell holes and bullet marks and pock marks in it still. That was crazy.
Didn't on the map somewhere it said bullet holes or something like that?
Like, yeah, we were driving down to Foy because I was like, okay, there's a memorial. And then there was a little star next to it, and it literally just says bullet holes.
Yeah, we're like...
And I was like, well, we got to figure out what that is. And you drive down the road and you're like, there's the bullet holes. Okay. It's a building just riddled with machine gun fire.
I thought that was interesting that they actually had that on the Google map.
I'm glad they did that.
Because it helped us find that. But the village of Foy was very cool. I was glad that we went there.
Yeah, like it's like a little church and then like some stuff on the side of a building. There's not a ton to see.
We were there for like 15 minutes. I mean,
it was the stuff that they've got there is really cool, and it was really
connection.
I think that was everything we did there.
Then we drove to what? Cannes?
We drove to Sedan.
Sedan. Sorry.
So we drove. We booked it down to Sedan, and we did that because Sedan is where there was a massive battle in the Franco-Prussian War, and that's where Napoleon III was finally captured, basically, and a massive number of the French army surrendered. So we kind of stopped there because I wanted to see the big memorial that was in the middle of town. But before we did that,
there was a huge chateau.
A massive chateau.
Just we're driving along, we're like, oh, there's a huge ass chateau right there.
And it's like up on the hill, overlooking the city. So we just kind of pulled into the parking lot, and you can kind of just walk in.
Well, it's very commercialized. They turned it into like a market and a restaurant and a hotel.
And there was like a Halloween
game area.
Yeah.
And we actually walked up onto an area that we probably weren't supposed to be at.
We like walked past a bunch of like Do Not Enter signs to like kind of go up.
I couldn't read the word. It's verboten, something.
And then like
I couldn't read. I can't read.
I can't read. To kind of look down.
Oh, that was cool.
And it covers the whole city, and that was really neat. It was just a great view.
It made a connection there for me to... So we play Here I Stand a lot.
Yes.
One of our favorite games of all time. The French, they build these chateaus. And I think it is symbolic of the political clout and the economic viability of those regions when you build those. And you gain victory points.
It's all like, that's the kind of chateau that you're building in Here I Stand, right?
Right.
That's a castle.
Yeah. And it becomes an economic center where everyone comes and trades.
But it turns the town into a fortified area, basically.
Right. Gives it prestige and economic viability, and you gain a VP for each one of those that you build.
Unlike the chateau in Mars-la-Tour, which was a farmhouse, right?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Still technically a chateau, but...
This was a chateau.
This is the kind of chateau that you're getting in Here.
What was the name of that place? I can't remember. It had a specific name.
Yeah,
but
I can't remember offhand.
Chateau de Sedan or something, but, you know...
But anyway. that was neat to kind of walk in there and experience all cobblestones and made of kind of a very distinctive brown sandstone, I think it was.
When you walk on that hurts my feet.
Well, you're supposed to ride a horse and carriage.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Just so odd to me that they would have built that, but anyway, that was amazing. I actually enjoyed that, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Because we could see that thing for like a half mile away. It
dominates the town, yeah.
And we drove in, and we were able to get in there. We had some French dude that decided to walk in front of us and take a wee on the left. Remember that?
Yep.
That was kind of funny. And you told me, you warned me that this would happen. But I thought that was interesting. That was a great experience. So then we found the monument in Sedan.
Yeah, so you kind of go down into the town. We drove down there.
It's literally in the middle of the road.
It's like in a massive roundabout.
Yeah, there's a huge roundabout, and it's a very busy street. And we parked like in the public library parking lot, I think.
Yeah, just across.
And walked over there. And here we are, tourists. Like, I'm taking pictures of it, and there's relief on the side. There's plaques on the side. We're reading all of that. And I felt like everybody was looking at us going, who are these idiots?
Well, isn't that the way that it is, right? Like, the locals are like, huh?
What are you doing? Yeah.
Like, you don't appreciate the local stuff, right?
Well, a prophet is never recognized in his hometown, right? And the same about history, people forget it. Yeah, even though it's ever present.
When people like come to Southampton, they're like, oh, we want to go see the Titanic Memorial. I'm like, huh? Oh, that's like right next to my favorite thrift store. Like, I guess.
There you go. Yeah.
But that was cool. It's a very big memorial.
There's not a lot there. I mean, it's a big memorial, but we wanted to see it. because Sedan is a very famous, both in, there was a World War II battle there, World War I battle, Franco-Prussian battle.
Well,
And it's Sedan, by the way. I'm going to call it Sedan.
Sure.
It's Sedan.
It's a type of car.
Yeah.
But like, so many wars or battles have been fought there, many of which have been decisive in some form of another. I think it was really neat to kind of see that as well. And then after that, we got back in the car and we drove another probably hour and a half.
Yeah, at least.
Just to get to the hotel. So we stayed in a hotel in Reims, or Reims.
We actually asked someone how you say it.
We asked the 2 concierges at the hotel, how do you say it? And they both said something different.
Which I thought was hilarious. Yeah, so anyway.
But yeah.
Yeah, it says Reims.
It's
R-E-I-E-M-S.
And it's pronounced like, oh.
But it's like, ugh. So, and I'm just like, okay, that's fine. It's their language.
Well, we're all just guessing at how it's pronounced, okay? But
that was our best hotel. I thought.
It was a commercial hotel.
It was really nice.
It was a very modern, very big Holiday Inn Express.
And when we had breakfast the next day, we could see out over the entire city.
Yeah, it's got a great view of the cathedral.
Yeah,
so that cathedral was amazing as well.
It was.
We weren't able to go in because we were there quite late, but we
we walked down into the city, I guess.
Yeah.
We had beef bourguignon.
Yes.
Right? Didn't we both have that?
Yes.
That was phenomenal.
Yeah,
I had heartburn for the next day.
Ate outside, had the beef bourguignon on the road. There was like a band playing. It was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, then
our waitress ignored us.
Yes.
It felt very French.
It was great.
Like she was over there at a table smoking and drinking.
We were the only assholes not smoking.
I know. But she as the waitress was like with some friends at a table smoking and drinking. And we were like, hello. It's just hilarious.
It was great.
Because you don't tip in Europe.
No, there was almost never.
We learned that you can have an argument with a waiter.
There was one restaurant where there was an option to tip.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
You can always just leave money. But
you can, but they would be offended.
It's not the same. But so we ate, and then we walked the kind of 2 blocks to go to the cathedral.
Well worth it.
And it was at night, so it was all like floodlit,
lit up.
Amazing. And it's called the Notre Dame Cathedral at Reims, and I don't like it's almost the same architecture as Notre Dame in Paris.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it's called that, if that's the style of cathedral, or if that's the name of the architect who designed them. Or
it's the name of the order that built those. I'm not really sure.
That's, if you know, please let me know.
Yeah.
I'm too lazy to Google it. But like, that was interesting that like, oh, it's called that. Like, that is a very specific thing.
Yeah.
Which was neat. But that was, I mean, it's stunning architecture. And at night it was lit and it was very moody, absolutely beautiful.
It was very cold that night too, for the first time.
It was brisk, that's for sure. And there was also like a statue of Joan of Arc outside, which was cool. But yeah. That was
We saw a dude wipe out on a scooter. Which was,
he biffed it hard.
Oh my gosh,
that was like,
that looked like it hurt.
Are you okay, dude?
And he got up like nothing happened and tried to just go on.
Tried to style it out.
Yeah, so.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah, that was.
I also got to watch the IU football game. I tricked my phone into thinking that I was in the United States. I don't remember how I did it. I looked online how to do it.
And did IU win?
Oh, they destroyed them.
What's IU's record right now?
Well, they're 8-0.
Wow, that's pretty
and
good.
They're ranked number 2 in the nation.
I don't know if you know this, but the Colts are 7-1 as well.
How many times do I say that every day?
But yeah, it was interesting. The next morning, we woke up, had breakfast in the hotel, and it was like, hey, look, there's a cathedral, and it dominates the cityscape, and that was really neat too. So initially that day, it was a Sunday. I was like, oh well, we're just gonna like drive across France to get to Normandy, basically. It's about 5 hours of driving.
Yeah, we were in the car for about 5 hours.
But we ended up having a lot more time than I thought it was. So we ended up driving into Paris.
Yep.
We drove into Paris, and we kind of just did a little walking tour of like the major sites. Yeah, we didn't have a ton of time.
Notre Dame, the Luxor obelisks.
Yes, so we walked down to kind of the Champs-Elysees and all of the Luxor obelisks there.
We went to the Louvre. And we didn't rob it.
Okay, yeah, we walked past the Louvre. And it was so funny, because we were at the Louvre about 11 a.m. And we kind of walked around the corner into kind of the big courtyard entranceway, and I was like,
why are all these people standing around?
I was like, there was a lot of police standing around. I'm like, okay, well, it's busy.
And dudes in suits that I'm now knowing were detectives.
But normally, like, that whole courtyard area where there's that big pyramid is chock full of people.
Yeah.
And I was like...
Yeah, this is weird.
I was like, oh, maybe there's, like, a state visit, and they've, like, closed it so, like, some, like, people can come and visit or something like that. But, yeah, no, it had been robbed that morning. That was that morning.
And they had stolen, supposedly, some of the jewelry of Josephine and Napoleon.
Napoleon III, specifically.
Okay, Napoleon. Okay.
But
I swear someone, where I read it, said something about Josephine's jewelry, which would have been Napoleon's wife. I swear I read that, but maybe I'm wrong.
They stole a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But...
they did. We didn't.
No.
Want to make it clear.
We didn't know that happened.
We had a great alibi.
So we took some pictures outside, no big deal.
Yeah.
Just to be tourists. And
then
everyone's like, hey, was this you?
Yeah. And then we bought berets
we
to
bought
try to blend
some
in
berets.
A little bit.
We had some crepes.
Oh, that crepe was so good.
Best crepe we've ever had.
So good. And it was made by like a Turkish gentleman.
Yeah.
But it was amazing.
It was unreal. So good.
But then we went to the Arc de Triomphe, which was amazing.
Well, and that's where we kind of got that link of like, oh, this is the soldier who was moved from Verdun.
From Verdun, one of the 8.
There's this very conspicuous gap in that monument in Verdun, and with a little plaque saying what's happened.
Yeah.
And then here's his body under the Arc de Triomphe very prominently, and it's got like...
And eternal flames going.
And there was a lot of wreaths, like it's still very, very
great.
well. And that was very, very cool. And then we...
Well, but before we go on, we broke the law and ran across the road
like
when there was like there was an entire subterranean underpass, and we ran across the road like morons.
We went through the underpass on the way back.
Yeah, we did. We followed the law.
Whatever.
I'm surprised we didn't get arrested.
Well,
but
we then like hopped out and then went down to the Eiffel Tower to see the Eiffel Tower.
It's the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, like, you've seen it, right?
Yeah. We didn't go up in it. The line was very long, and we had things to do.
It's cool if you're at night because it, like, lights up and stuff, but we didn't have much time there, unfortunately.
So, funny story. You ever been to Kings Island?
Yes.
Kings Island has an Eiffel Tower. It's a miniaturized Eiffel Tower. You can actually go up in it. And I've been up in that. And that's why I'm like, I don't care.
Where is that? Kings
Island? It's right in Kings Island. It's like in the middle.
I must have just been blind. I don't remember. It's been a long time since I've been
when
there.
I go to Kings Island, I don't go there for that. I go there for the 7 or 8 roller coasters.
I'm going on a roller
coaster. We just run to the roller coasters and we try to go
I'm going on that racetrack wooden one 100 times because no one else goes on it. I love that thing.
But anyway, we saw the Eiffel Tower.
Yes.
We also saw the Mafia. They're selling umbrellas.
Yeah, it's the guys, the street sellers selling the umbrellas as soon as it's raining. And then as soon as it stops raining, they get it out and they're like, hey, we're selling sunscreen now. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting.
But we kind of hopped back in the car and left because we were able to get in touch with Morgan Guillaume-Ritter. And we met at the Palace of Versailles. And
I kept saying, I know that's close. Let's go.
And I didn't know about timing-wise, so I hadn't really like booked on it. And I was like, oh, no, we got time. Yeah. So it turned out to be awesome. So we showed up, and the lines are crazy.
Yeah.
And to get inside the actual palace, totally sold out, which was fine, I guess. We'll just have to make a better plan next
time. It was
a
last-minute thing.
Yeah, but...
The gardens.
You go through the gardens.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. So we spent probably 2 hours...
And walked probably 5 miles.
Walking through the French-style gardens, which I learned a lot about, which was pretty neat. And it was awesome having Morgan because she gave us like a history tour of like the Palace of Versailles, why it was built, when it was built, why it was built the way that it was, and some of the gardens. And some
and
of
even
the
way it's used politically today.
Yeah.
And different things about it. Very interesting. She also shared kind of that thematic connection of, hey, the king, you would have had a private conversation over here because you couldn't have been heard, but the king actually was spying on you because it has an echo and blah, blah, blah.
I thought that was really neat, like a deeper insight of like, hey, like, the gardens are built in such a way that there's lots of places to secrete yourselves away from the palace to have your secret conversations with your courtiers. And she was like, hey, this place is a great place to do it because there's a really, really loud water fountain.
Yeah.
So no one can hear you.
Yeah. It was interesting.
It was
because I'm not sure I would have thought about that side of it as I was just walking through. Yeah. But that was gorgeous. And like I said, I think we walked about 5 miles. You know, I'm exaggerating. But we saw probably half of it.
Oh, if that.
If that, like 40%.
I took a bunch of pictures and videos of that because it's beautiful. It's very well maintained.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, that like this, there's a reason it's like one of the biggest tourist attractions in Paris.
It's beautiful.
It was amazing. But also, shout out to Morgane for coming out to see us, spend a couple hours with us. That was real fun.
Well, and we didn't just talk about the gardens. We talked to her about her games. Hubris is out. I did get the copy, by the way, when we were gone. Talked about that. She's working on an expansion for that. And then she has some other things kind of in the works. So that was great because we've corresponded with her over the years. We've played Pendragon and loved it. Looking forward to Hubris as well. We got to find maybe at Buckeye Game Fest we'll play that next year.
So we then hopped in the car and drove the rest of the way.
We go to Karen?
We went to Bayeux.
Oh, yeah. And the tapestry.
Yes. Because
was closed.
Which was, in my brain, I was like, oh, I'd love to go see the Bayeux tapestry. And then about a month ago, I was like, okay, let me find tickets for it. And they're like,
well, hey. I think I saw online, I'm like, hey, did you know it's closed?
My family had also told me.
Oh, okay.
It closed on like October the 2nd.
Yeah.
Like
a week before
3 weeks before we were there.
Yeah.
And it's closed for renovations because in theory they're going to go and move it to London to display for like a year or two, and then it'll come back again. I'm like,
it's being appropriated.
Like we studied the Bayeux tapestry when I was a kid. Like I would have loved to have seen it, and it just was not available. Yeah. But we got in pretty late anyway, so it probably wasn't very feasible. We stayed in a lovely kind of B&B.
That was also my favorite place.
I loved that place.
Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot.
And I picked that place because of what it was. I was like, that looks cool. Like,
it was an
lovely,
old house.
Lovely old building, run by an old French family.
Yeah.
And it was right next to the Bayeux Cathedral, which was stunning as well. You could kind of see it out of our window, which was neat. But
before we go on, I didn't watch the Colts game, but I followed the Colts game on my phone from like 9:45 to about midnight.
Which is where we got to 6-1.
Yeah, because they beat the Chargers. Not just beat them, destroyed them.
Yeah, they destroyed them.
They've been destroying everybody this year, which is phenomenally cool.
Yes. And because the tapestry was closed, it was like whatever. So we got up really early in that morning, had breakfast, checked out, and then we finished the drive. We drove to Sainte-Mère-Église. Because this was kind of our Normandy day. So
terrible weather, by the way.
Awful weather.
Yeah.
It was genuinely
good in the
miserable.
morning, terrible in the early afternoon, and then good later.
So Sainte-Mère-Église, you just kind of pull into the town, very small little village, really.
Yeah.
But you've got the big church there, and it has the paratrooper, the fake paratrooper hanging from the roof. Is it John Steele?
Yep.
Made famous from the movie and from his real life, but
yeah, The Longest Day was a movie that I watched with my father, and I had always wanted to see that, and that was really cool to see that. Although I don't know that I should talk about it. Let's line up the villagers along the front of the church.
That was definitely a choice. But
one of the tour groups literally lined everybody up on the front of the church, like up against the wall.
For like no reason.
And they were just talking. And I was just like, we had an image of the Germans like killing the local French citizens because they were helping the Allies or something.
You don't got to line up the civilians up against the church.
It was interesting.
That was like, okay.
Yeah.
But going inside that church was really neat because there was a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
About the memory of some of the people who were there and
one of the stained glass windows had been replaced because I assume it was destroyed.
I think all of those were. None of those were.
But it was an homage to 1944 and the D-Day landings, and it had the All-American Division patch
And it had a paratrooper in it.
Very cool.
As well as some patron saints.
It was basically Jesus and a paratrooper, which I thought was amazing.
It was very
cool.
That was very cool just to see like that original kind of old Norman church like that as well.
Something I've always wanted to see, and I knew that when we went, Sainte-Mère-Église was somewhere that I had to go.
Yes. Then next to that, there was a museum.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the little cafe with the not German soldier on top of it. So I think it's supposed to be an Allied airborne trooper, but that was a German.
That's definitely
that was also a
German
choice.
Camo. Like, okay. But yeah, the museum opened at like 10, and we walked in there.
What was that called? The Airborne Museum?
Yes, I believe that's what it was called. Some very cool stuff there. They had some cool like tanks and armored vehicles as well.
Weapons and armor.
They had a full C-47 Douglas inside one of the buildings. That was really neat. They had a lot of original artifacts that had been donated from paratroopers and from various officers. So that was neat to kind of go around in the museum. But I think one of the best parts of that museum was one of the buildings had like an airdrop experience, is what we're going to call it. Like you walk in and you literally, it's very dark, and you walk into the inside replica of a C-47, and it's got all the guys in it.
They're sat there.
Real loud, like it's flying.
Well, you can hear flak going off, you can hear the chatter of the pilots, and then your commander's like, stand up, and it's like, you're in the middle of it, getting ready to jump out, and then you could look outside, and they had like a little diorama of the area with lights, and it was just really like cool, and a glass floor.
Yeah, you walk out the back of the plane and like jump out, and you walk over a glass bridge, and this sounds glib. It's a little bit like the Peter Pan ride at Disneyland.
Yeah, I would agree. 100%. Same look.
It's like 2 feet down, but you've got like this perspective scale of a bunch of other paratroopers and planes dropping out and flashing lights and the terrain of Sainte-Mère-Église. And that was just like a really well done immersive experience.
Yeah.
And then you kind of walk around, and there's like a landing site, and guys, that big giant kind of displays of guys, getting their equipment together, like here's a machine gun pit that they're fighting, and they had some really neat stuff. That was like a really fun little part of that, which was neat. But that was also a pretty high quality museum, is what I would say as well.
And it was interesting also, the buildings were actually shaped like parachutes.
Yes.
Or at least one or two of them.
They were all inspired by the shape of those.
I thought that was pretty cool, because I didn't necessarily see it until I read that, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I can totally see that.
Oh yeah.
So that was neat.
Yeah, so a lot of thought had gone into that. That was also a good museum as well. So from there...
They also had a French Indochina area with paratroopers. That was pretty interesting.
Because it was called an airborne museum, but that last room was like,
Yeah, so that was cool. I thought that was neat.
Yeah, a little, very different that room as well. But we did that, and then we zipped over to try to find some bits that were not necessarily planned. So we drove over to find Brecourt Manor, and
we found it.
We found it.
Not a lot there.
No, it is a field. It is a field that's used for pasturing
animals. It's a working farm. Yeah.
But on the corner of the field, there is, there's some flagpoles with some flags, and there's a couple of different memorials which are incredibly hard to read.
Well, one of them is literally a hand-drawn map that Dick Winters came back later, like a couple of years later, and drew.
Of like, hey, here was the position.
Yeah, and it's on black, what I would call marble.
Yeah, but it's like,
and it's at such an angle where you can't see anything because of the light.
The relief is extremely shallow.
Yeah.
But it's also buffed, so it's shiny and reflects the light. And it had been raining, so it was covered in water.
If I had money, I would send them a check and beg them to redo that part.
Like, it just needs to be engraved, like...
Deeper,
that's
with a color. Maybe make the lines gold or red. Because we were trying desperately to understand the layout and the terrain, and I'm not sure from what I could see.
I could barely make heads or tails of the map.
Yeah, it was...
Just to even read it.
I've watched a video since, by the way, and I can see where we were, and we were looking at the line of trees where and they had actually built those gun emplacements more into the bocage. So I think during the episode, they almost looked like they were out in the open.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
But this video identified where they were, and they were actually very cut into the bocage itself because they wanted to be obscured from Allied reconnaissance and aircraft.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really, really cool.
But that was neat just to kind of, to see that, where that was, and we kind of drive up this little lane up the side of it, and you kind of look down, hey, here's where different approaches to that were. But there's not much there, but that doesn't mean that it's not worth visiting.
Oh, it was very cool.
And I think that was really neat. And then from there, we went to Carentan for some lunch. So we stopped in at lunch, and you ordered a steak.
Yeah.
Famously...
ended up being fish. A steak of cod.
He ordered a steak of fish, which was great.
Yeah, no, and it was all in French. Very small town. No one spoke English. So, yeah, it was fine. It was fine. It's not what I wanted.
It had steak. And then it had like
filet.
A filet.
Yeah, so I thought it was a filet, not a filet mignon,
but then
like,
it had a weight.
I know.
Famously
is a steak.
Is a beef thing in the US.
Yeah, like ounces, right?
But it was
it was.
They came and brought you a piece of cod, which is great.
So I was hungry till dinner, but that's okay. It was fine. It was fine.
But yeah, we didn't. It was kind of raining. We didn't do a whole lot in Carentan.
Well, we had to stop and get umbrellas because we're getting ready to go to Pointe du Hoc, and it was raining.
Yeah, which was a bummer. So we swung round to Pointe du Hoc, which, if you don't know, that's where the Rangers landed, and they like scaled basically a sheer cliff, and there was supposedly on Pointe du Hoc was a huge battery, when really it was just a bunch of trenches and a garrison.
Yeah.
Because all the guns were set like half a mile back in the Maisy battery, which we found somewhat serendipitously.
By accident, yeah.
So we kind of drove in, and we were driving down the road that gets you to Pointe du Hoc, and there's a little sign that says Maisy battery pointing this way. And I was like, we're going. So just turn left, drive down this country lane, and at first it was kind of like, oh.
Where are we going?
So there's just this like half grassed over gravel car park. And
with very rusty guns up front. Yeah. Very rusty, at least two of them.
A half dilapidated fence and fence.
Yeah.
And there was like a shack that clearly serves as a ticket office at some point that's just like closed up and like nothing was there.
Keep in mind, this is Tuesday, or no, this is Monday.
That was Monday, yeah.
Monday at like 1.
Yeah.
Right? So there's no reason anybody would be there.
No.
And I don't know why we thought there would be there, but
one other person was there.
There was. And it was amazing because the fence had been trodden down to the point where it was very easy to step over.
The fence had clearly been, there's a part where you like scale it. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess it's just a bunch of rusty guns. But you kind of walk in, you see the rusty guns, great. And then there was a raised platform which had a really nice display on it.
And a plaque.
Where you can look right out to the ocean.
Yep.
And you're like, this was the OP.
Yep.
So you can see all this. And they're like, here's why it was here.
Yeah.
And here's what you can see. So you can see, oh, that was awesome.
Well, and I think that the plaque, if I remember correctly, said there were 19 guns there, if I remember
Something
correctly.
like that, yeah.
17 or 19. But that they had been trained so perfectly that from that point, they could hit both Utah and Omaha Beach. And like you said, that's where the Pointe du Hoc Rangers were trying to get to take out those
They didn't
guns.
know it was quite there.
Right,
So
it was probably a mile away, right?
And,
mile and a half.
And where that's set and why they did that is because it's not just, it was trained on Omaha. That is enfilading fire across the whole beach.
Yes.
Like it's raking fire that would have been devastating.
Would have been crazy.
But it's this kind of unassuming bit, and then there's like, this little entrance, whatever, we'll just kind of walk in.
Well, and there's blackberry bushes everywhere, and we're like, this is kind of interesting.
Just little things. There's like to the trenches. So we kind of walked in. Oh my giddly goo!
It was amazing.
This complex that has been excavated. I could have spent an entire day there and still probably not seen everything.
And spent a day that it wasn't pouring rain.
Yeah.
Because we kind of had to cut it short because we were getting soaked.
We were probably there for about 45 minutes to an hour And with our little umbrellas, walking through huge lines of blackberry bushes and bocage, like tearing them up.
That were catching the umbrella, and
a nightmare. But like the complex is massive.
It was amazing too.
Like these extremely well preserved gun pits, and inside the battery they've kind of put in some of the old guns that you can kind of
sitting
see
there
to give you a sense of scale. There's the little Tobruk machine gun positions. You can go inside a lot of it. It was amazing.
Ammo cache areas where they were about 3 foot tall, so you can't get in there, but you would have kept shells and other supplies. And then they had a couple of little bunkers where I'm assuming people were living in those as well. And that was kind of cool. So we climbed in and through all of that.
And like,
very neat.
We saw maybe a fifth of that place.
Maybe.
Because I think on the signs there was at least 28 points of interest.
Yeah.
And, if it wasn't raining like it was, we could have...
We probably saw seven or eight, but that was very cool.
Yeah, that was really, really neat. And also something very unexpected.
Yep.
So if you do go, check out the Maisy Battery. Well worth it.
Yep.
Well worth it.
Pick a good day where the weather's good.
Yeah. But so we then hopped back in the car, finished getting to Pointe du Hoc.
Yeah.
And it was a case of just like...
We didn't get to see much.
Tried to wait for the rain to subside. And so we kind of ran down there. And by the time we got down there, it was absolutely pelting it down with rain.
And the trails literally were filling up.
Yeah.
So we were having to walk on the side.
On like 3 inches of mud.
It was crazy.
And it's like there's fences. But like
you ripped your shirt.
And my jeans.
And your jeans.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
But like you could see some of the emplacements that was still there. You can look out and see like, hey, here's Omaha Beach.
You can see down to Omaha, which was very cool.
So you get a sense of the scale, but that was unfortunate.
So frustrating too. They have these cool observation platforms.
Yeah, like they're raised. You can go up
that
them.
are closed off, and I'm just like, has some idiot got killed and they don't? That kind of thing is so frustrating.
Or it's not
to
the
me.
season for it, and they're like, oh, it's too wet.
But those fences looked permanent.
It looked very sturdy to me.
And I don't know. That was disappointing because I would have liked to have seen more.
And I think what's also sad is, not sad, but like, I went there when I was like 16 years old. I've got pictures of me and my brothers like in front of the same gun emplacements that we took pictures of, and there was nothing there at the time.
Yeah.
Like all the fences that we saw didn't exist. Like we just like, I was there in the summer as well, but like we roamed and like went in and around everything, did whatever we wanted, which in hindsight might be a little bit mental.
Sure.
Because like the only thing that I remember like protection wise was like on the very edge of the cliff was those like wooden stakes tied by a single wire. Yeah. That was it. Like there wasn't any kind of protection. Yeah. Yes. And so they've made it so that you can't do a lot of that stuff, which is fine, but
but it's disappointing because it affected because I was hoping to really get a great view of both the beaches and better understand. But we unfortunately, because of the rain and because everything was cut off.
And you can't get up that close to the cliff edge to see a lot. But yeah, the rain also made it so that the vision was so bad.
Yeah.
That was a bit of
a little bit of a bummer.
Because it was so...
It was still awesome to be there.
Yeah. And it was, but like my clothes didn't dry out for 2 days.
And we were, like the bottom of my jeans were soaked. My shoes were soaked.
Just soaked through. It was
we actually later stopped and got a newspaper. I don't remember where we got a newspaper.
That was in Caen.
Okay. But we stuffed those in our shoes overnight, and that actually helped a lot.
Yes. But my jeans still wet.
We were soaked.
That was crazy.
Just soaked.
So we that was a little bit disappointing. We then drove down to Omaha Beach. We went to, I think it was Vierville. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think it was.
So we'd literally drive down onto the beach, and it's like, hey, here's the beach.
Yeah.
And like, here's the Vierville draw that we drove down.
Which was very cool.
That's where we're landing here. We got to take the draw so we can drive the vehicles up because they can't get up most of the rest of the cliffs that were there. That was really neat. But it's also, again, I've been there before, but it's also like, hey, this is just a beach. Like, there's an element it's that surreal element of like, Omaha Beach in a game like this, and now it's like, hey, in the summer, people come here and like holiday.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful beach.
Yeah.
Very beautiful.
But there's a huge monument there, and there's a few other different bits and pieces which were neat. There was like a museum, like a small museum, kind of up on the side. That
well, and there's some monuments and different. And then we saw the one monument to the British.
Yeah,
I can't remember what that was called.
I can't remember the operation name, but I looked it up.
Okay.
And so what it was it was a very small commando raid of about, I think it was 10 people. It was like 9 commandos and like a free French guide.
Okay.
And they had come in like some kind of boat type thing.
What year did they do this?
I think it was in 1942.
Okay.
And they'd come onto the beach, and I think it was to try to do some kind of reconnaissance and like to kind of mess around a little bit. But it was after the Dieppe raids, and so the Germans were on high alert. So it might have been 43 based on that. And they were immediately found.
Yeah,
and
it didn't end well.
No, I don't think.
But there was a little plaque there with some.
Yeah, just of like, hey, something else happened here as well.
Yeah,
that was
kind of neat.
That was neat, but it's kind of crazy to just like, you walk along the beach a bit and then you turn around and look up at like the bluffs, and that's kind of what they're going up against.
Well, and you can see Pointe de Hoc,
and it's
down
looking
the beach.
right down on you.
Yeah, yeah. I kept asking myself, how in the hell did anybody, like all that interlocking fire from those bunkers and ridge lines? I mean, it was just a numbers thing, right? We had so many.
Yeah.
People running up the beach that you can't shoot them all.
Yeah,
basically.
you're like, wow, how do they do it? And you're also like, how do you defend it?
Yeah,
Like,
just insane.
And I think the other thing I really like about going there is, you know, when you see the pictures of the Overlord armadas, it's like, wow, that's a lot of ships.
Like
and when you're there, you can see all the way out into the horizon, and there would have been ships literally as far as the eye could see.
Yeah, it would have been nothing
chocked
but
up
ships.
basically the entirety of the channel at that point.
It also struck me after seeing it, particularly from the Maisy battery when we were looking out, because that kind of was the best view.
Yeah.
I thought to myself, can you imagine being the German soldiers and Czechoslovakian and Romanian and, let's be honest, stationed there, and they're looking out over the ocean, and at like 6 a.m, they see thousands upon thousands of Allied ships. And you're like, holy crap, like it's coming, right? And now I know that the paratroopers had already dropped and there was some fighting going on, but that really struck me because I was able to see the ocean, see the view, and you're right, that would have been...
Yeah, and like you said, the coastal defense weren't the cream of the crop, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, the Atlantic Wall was more a...
That's where you sent the penal battalions and stuff.
Well, I mean, they did mine the beach. They had tank traps.
But that's what they were relying on, right?
Yeah.
And then you litter it with your poor garrisons, and then they held the troops in reserve to deploy where they needed to. That was the whole point of it. And so, but it's like you said, those guys, you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, there's an armada.
Yeah.
This is what I trained for, but this is way more than I ever thought.
And the reality is, you know, about 20 days, the Allies were like, you know, out of the area and had built the mulberries, and it just, I don't know, it was amazing to see that. Because how many Normandy games have we played? We also got on that little coastal road, and we're like, oh, this is where you're trying to get as the Allies so you can drive.
So, yeah, we drove from Vierville to Cauville-sur-Mer, I think is what it's called, where the American cemetery is, and it was that little winding road. That's the road.
I can see it as clear as day on Normandy 44.
That's the road.
It's right there, and you're just putting a couple German units here and there to try to slow the advance down.
That little coastal road.
Yeah, that was really cool to make that connection for the games that we've played.
Yeah, and that's the part of why I like going to see historical sites, you know, and we'll talk about more of that later. And I want to do more of that here because I'm like, I've read so much about the American Civil War, but it's like, I want to go see some of those things to be like,
yeah, we can do that.
When you see the stuff, you're like, yes.
I've been to Chickamauga. I know Chickamauga's on the table. I've been to that battlefield. We need to go to Gettysburg.
Yeah.
We could do a 3 or 4 day trip and literally just do that.
We should do that.
Yeah.
Because that like, there's something to going to the places and seeing the stuff that brings it to life.
Yeah.
But that was so. Yeah, we went then to the American Cemetery, which is, I mean,
yeah, sobering is the word that I would use.
It's very reverent.
Yep. And we just walked. I mean,
but that's how all the cemeteries like that are. There's just a
yeah.
It's almost hard to put into words, really.
Yeah.
But then I think what's interesting about that, there's like that big kind of memorial part of it, and then there's literally rows of thousands of headstones. Mm-hmm. But then when you go to the north side, here's the cliff.
Yeah.
There's the beach.
Yep.
There's the ocean.
Yep.
And I think having it look over like that, and there
cool.
was that little kind of lookout point that we went
Yep.
to, just makes it that much extra poignant of like, someone had to climb that. Someone had to go there. Like it I think the location of it is not an accident, right?
No, they did that.
The way that it's maintained and the way that it's set up is it's a very hallowed and special place, that's for sure.
Yep.
I felt very similar to Verdun.
Yep. I enjoyed my time there. We probably spent about an hour and a half, and
Find the rain.
The rain finally started again, and then we got caught in the parking lot. How many trips around the parking lot?
Had to go around a couple times.
Like 3 times.
Because
maybe.
you had to cross a median that definitely looks like it's not a median you can cross. It wasn't clear. But anyway.
But
I think that was kind of the last thing that we did that day, quote unquote, because we then hopped in the car and we drove down to Caen. Because that's where we stayed in the hotel that night.
That was a nice hotel.
Yeah, that was a nice hotel. Had a great meal there, kind of walked around in the town.
Wasn't that an Argentinian steakhouse that we went to? I'm trying to...
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm going to be honest, American beef is better. 100%. And they don't know how to cook a steak.
Yeah, to me, the beef is not the important part. It's how it's cooked. Yeah. It's the seasoning and the cooking.
They don't know how to cook a steak. And if I had said that to
you're going to make a lot of enemies.
I know.
But I agree with you.
Mine was so blood red, and it had no seasoning on it. Yeah. Nothing. I had a ribeye last night, 10 times better than that steak. I'm not kidding. 10 times better.
I don't remember what I ate.
What'd you say?
I don't remember what I ate there.
What did you have? You had a steak. You had exactly what I had.
Oh, I didn't.
We got the same thing. Yeah. And it was good, but it wasn't great.
Yeah, it was fine.
And I also thought it was tough. So I don't know. And I'm a little
into the important stuff now.
I'm a little bit of a snob too. Like, we're going to go to Ruth's Chris here later this month with our wives. That will be a steak.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I agree. I agree 100%.
I'll take my knife and it'll cut so easy.
It'll like fall
and it
off.
Will be perfect.
Yeah.
So, but that was cool. And then we walked through another cathedral.
The cathedral at Caen's really, really nice as well.
Beautiful.
Very beautiful.
And the thing about that one is they had some really great historical photos of 1940s when it was destroyed. Those were really great photos. And then they showed how they repaired it to get it back to the state that it was in today.
And Caen's like an ancient medieval town, which is really cool because you've got the cathedral, but that's like
big castle
right
there.
Next to the castle, which has the old walls in it, and you can see the layout of what the old town used to be. That's a really cool map for that.
That was cool to go into that city.
Also, this is a tidbit just for Morgan Guillaume-Rotet, who was like, oh, if you go to Normandy, they still call the English Saxon, which is their word for Saxon still, and it's kind of semi-derogatory. We saw that in a shop window. There was like a British fashion shop in Caen. Yeah. And I was like, I gotta look in the window to see what it is they think we wear. And the clothes were awful. But in the corner, like, it said Saxon. It was like, I was like, ow, she just said that. And funny. I wouldn't have known what that was.
Yeah.
But we thought that was a great laugh.
We also had... What was that thing? We had a cream puff.
Yeah, like a giant profiterole type cream puff.
That thing was amazing.
That bakery was great.
Well, and it wasn't sweet. It was just so good.
Yeah, it was like fresh cream almost.
I don't know. It was amazing. So...
Yeah, Caen was lovely. But yeah, we just kind of stopped staying at the hotel. Okay, and then the next day was a big driving day.
Yeah.
We spent a long time in the car, desperately trying to find a gas station that worked.
Don't go to Esso.
Yes.
If you're an American, because your card won't work.
Yeah, that was...
We went to about
every
5
Esso we went to...
didn't work.
Every other gas station, perfectly fine.
Yep.
So we drove from Caen all the way over to Mons. Mm-hmm. And so we stopped at Mons. I basically wanted to stop at Mons because that was where the first 2 Victoria Crosses of World War I were awarded. And that was kind of the first major action of the BEF.
Yeah.
Was kind of move up to Caen and defend the canal there.
Yeah.
So we actually stopped in Mons and had lunch, which was lovely. Had some
once
Belgian
again,
lunch.
Mons is in Belgium.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
No, yeah. Yeah, had some great lunch in like the old town square, which is beautiful.
Croquet.
We had you had a croque monsieur, I had a croque madame.
Oh, so good.
And we had the best waffle of my entire life.
That Belgian waffle was amazing.
I probably could have eaten like 10 more of those.
Well, I wanted to actually fight you, and because we shared one. I'm not sure why we decided to do that. Because we were trying to watch our girlish figures, I guess.
Yeah,
But
I didn't think I'd be able to eat a whole one. So I was like, I'll just have a nibble. And then I was like,
so good.
poop. I shouldn't have
like
done
I was so mad that you were eating any more of it. Because it was just so good.
So lunch was amazing. But then we went down to the canal at the Vimy Bridge, which is a rail bridge. And underneath the bridge, on the south side of the canal, you have this plaque and a monument to the 2 soldiers. I think it was Dees is one of them.
I wrote it in the blog, but I can't remember.
And basically, it was the 2 of them defended the bridge.
One died, so it was posthumously that he got the
and the other one was
Victoria
injured but captured and survived the war.
Yes.
But they had their Vickers machine gun and they defended this bridge whilst the main withdrawal, everyone else fell back. And I've watched a number of different documentaries and bits and pieces on it. And so I was like, well, if we're going to be kind of in the area, I want to stop and see it.
Yeah.
Again, it's one of those places, there's not much there. There's a nice plaque on the wall. There's some description of what happened. There's a little kind of memorial with a cross and some wreaths.
Yeah.
But, who goes there?
Well, it was also interesting because I know who I am and I think I know who you are. But I was kind of messing around behind you looking at something else, and you had made your way up to the monument. And you started and I didn't see you doing this, but you were picking some stuff out, and you went around the corner to kind of throw it.
Yeah, I was weeding.
Right, and I came up without really knowing what you were doing, and I started doing the same damn thing. And it's just that's so interesting that... And some of that stuff was overgrown significantly.
Yeah,
it was actually in better shape than I thought. Because I guarantee nobody goes there.
But it's like, prop up the wreaths, do a little bit of weeding.
Well, the crosses were falling over. I sat those up. And
yeah, there's no reason for it to be in disrepair.
No.
If someone's there to do it. So I'm going to be
that was cool. We also had a bathroom experience there that I will keep private. But
it
was pretty fun.
Public bathrooms, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
But, we were there for 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
20, 30. Well, it took us longer to walk there because we couldn't drive there, or we thought we couldn't drive there.
Yeah.
But it was fine. It was a good walk.
The signage, not good.
Yeah, a good walk.
But, it was neat to see, hey, this is the canal they were going across. This is the bridge the Germans were coming across.
The Germans would have been there.
Here was the fields of... And I think that's... And we happened to be listening to that very part in
it was kind of funny.
Book at the time. Great coincidence. We went from there... We drove up to Waterloo, where we met up with Chris Van Beurden, who's a game designer. He did Europe in Turmoil. He did Sparta from Plague Island Games recently.
Yep.
He met us at Waterloo. Lovely guy.
Yeah, really nice guy.
Really nice. And there's a big museum there, but I've seen a lot of museums. But what I was interested in was there's the kind of the big...
The lions.
The lion monument that you can climb up.
Wasn't it called the Lion's Mound?
Yeah, I think so. So that's...
272 steps.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
I thought I was going to die.
I
stopped twice.
Had to take a little break.
Yeah.
But you get up on top and you can survey the whole battlefield.
Which was awesome.
Most of which is also still working farms.
Yep.
And the terrain isn't quite the same as it has been because
they scoured it to build that monument.
Yeah, part of it, and then part of it's just the farming over the course of time. But that was really neat to kind of go to it's the most famous battle of the Napoleonic period almost, and There's like a great kind of plaque that has engraved on it, hey, here was the disposition of forces, and here was these guys, and you can
that could have been better. I would have liked to have seen that be better.
Sure.
But
you know, here's the Hougoumont farm, here's where Lasse Hunt was, and then the other farm that I always forget the name of.
Yeah.
Like that gives a cool perspective of everything. And then you go down, and there was the panorama.
The best part.
Which is a big kind of a rondel house, and inside of it is a 360-degree, huge painting of the Battle of Waterloo.
Literally probably 2 stories high.
Oh, yes.
The painting was 25 to 30 feet tall.
Yeah, and they had some dimensions of it. It's huge.
It took 5 artists
and a long
years
time
to do it.
And it's just like, it's epic. It really is epic. There's no other way to describe it.
And you're standing in the center, and it's almost as if you were at the center of the battle.
Yeah, in between 2 lines.
Yeah,
kind of
it's just
converging.
insane.
And there's also like, some of it's like, there's like some foreground perspective standees that.
Well, they have like a stable
and some like display stuff as well. So it's got
dead horses,
an element of dimension to it, which was neat. But there's lots of different kind of plaques describing like, hey, here's this guy, and here's this
Wellington's
formation.
Command.
Yeah, all the way back there.
Yeah.
There was some really neat bits there. That panorama was wonderful. That was really cool. And then we hopped on the little
shuttle.
That's what it's called. And drove down to the Hougoumont farm, which was amazing, by the way.
Yeah, that was
one of my favorite parts.
That was amazing.
So the Hougoumont farm is like basically untouched since then.
Yeah.
Like it's been like maintained, but like it's not used as anything else other than a museum. And like it's still all the original buildings and all the original walls.
Except for the part of the chapel that was destroyed. They didn't rebuild it.
Well, yeah, like the which is the main manor house.
Yeah.
Like that's totally, but like it's gone. It's,
yeah.
Here's like the foundation of it that you.
But the walls are there. The chapel's mostly there. Some of the barns.
Yeah. And it's genuinely that was one of the coolest parts.
Oh, it was awesome.
Like they have a little museum inside one of the barns, and it has like a diorama, and they project onto it the flow of course of the battle over the different kind of orchards and the gardens, and when the house was burned and where the forces were meeting.
Yep.
Unbelievably cool.
That one was better than the one that was in Bastogne that I mentioned.
Yeah. But
this one was very well done.
And they had like just like a big model diorama in the middle that was just really
neat. Which helped. Understand.
And so we like walked round into the gardens and like saw the various different memorials, and then there's like
a German monument in the middle, or not a German, I'm sorry.
A French one.
A French monument right in the middle.
And there's like gun ports built into these walls.
Yeah.
But then they're like, hey, these were actually from a previous time, but they just happened to still be there that we used. That was so
Very cool.
You get to see the various different gates where the French were trying to breach it and where they weren't.
And they only ever breached, I think, the southern gate? Or was that the northern gate? I don't remember.
I think it was the north. Yeah, one of the directions.
But they had a little monument there that showed. But that's where they got
a couple
in.
soldiers leaning up against some ones.
Yeah,
It was
I
neat.
think there were like 29 French soldiers that got in.
Yeah.
And they shut the doors behind them and killed every single one of them.
Yeah.
Ultimately,
it was. But like that was so cool to get into kind of some of the minutia of such a grand battle as well. Yeah. So that was very, very neat.
Can you imagine being a sapper, having to try to hack at those doors?
Yeah,
that would have been insane.
Even getting there to do that, just nuts.
Yeah.
But and then that was a wonderful battlefield experience. I was kind of blown away by what's there.
Well, and I was told by many people, "Oh, why are you guys going there?" It was amazing.
Yeah, it was
now
dope.
Maybe they went 15 years ago and there wasn't as much or something, but that was like the best experience.
Upset that like the terrain isn't identical to how it was, but like it's still. You still get a scope for it.
Yeah.
And that farm was well worth it.
Yes.
Even if it was just that alone. Unbelievably cool.
I also thought the diorama they had inside the museum. Now, you talked about the Hougoumont farm, which was amazing.
The one in the main entrance.
But the full, that was amazing.
That was crazy.
Gorgeous. And then that gift shop was very cool. Like, what did you buy? You bought a Wellington.
I have a little bust of Wellington.
I got the Emperor. I got a little bust of the Emperor and a magnet.
The museum has a distinctly Bonapartist lean towards
100%.
it, which is, whatever.
And I bought the Emperor because he's cooler. The Duke of Wellington was an ass.
Then, it was just... I think some of the museums do some really fun bits and pieces. Like, they had a display of, ABBA records.
They did. It's hilarious.
So you could get Waterloo at Waterloo. It just...
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't have Waterloo playing.
There's a sense of humor that you get in some of the gift shops, which was great.
But I actually listened to that song multiple times since I got home. Because I have ABBA's greatest hits on my work computer.
But
I listen to it often.
That was such a fun experience.
Yep. Well, then we went to dinner with Chris.
Yeah.
Really great restaurant. I'm not going to butcher the name, but basically a Belgian stew.
A local beef Belgian stew with speculoos.
It was amazing.
And I had one bite of it, and it was amazing.
I felt sick afterwards because it was so good.
Yes.
But anyway, we had dinner with Chris. We talked about, he has several games coming up.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff he's working on.
A couple of operational level World War II games with Hexasim coming up. He has another game with Compass. He mentioned some other things too. I don't remember, but that Punic War,
yes.
or not Punic War, Roman Civil War game.
Yes.
That's Twilight Struggle-like. Not totally, but... So it was great to talk to him, great to meet him, because we've played many of his games. I've corresponded with him on several of his designs. Really nice guy.
And big shout out to him for just taking time out of his day to come and
I think he had to drive 45 minutes. He kind of waited on us for about 15. He went through the museum with us and everything that he's probably already seen a couple of times. Hung out with us till 6 or 7 at night at the restaurant. And actually it was 7 or 8. And it was great. It was great to see him and meet him.
I appreciate that.
Yep.
And then after that, we just kind of drove back to our hotel. We were staying in Eindhoven.
Yeah.
So we pulled up at a hotel. Again, just slept the night. Had a Dutch breakfast.
It was really good.
Good fun. We were starting to get into dark meats and cheese territory as well. And that day we were doing kind of our Hell's Highway, faux Hell's Highway kind of.
Which you can drive up Hell's Highway. It's now mostly sidewalk trails and bicycle
and
paths.
very rural stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can do some of it, but it was but basically we went to kind of the bridge in Eindhoven, or at least one of them.
Not much there.
No, it's a very small, unassuming bridge. At least the one that's near the Airborne Memorial. And we went to the Airborne Memorial, and there's that was in a sad state of disrepair.
Yeah. Well, someone had stolen.
Someone stolen the plaque,
the plaque insignia.
Yeah, it was that was sad.
Well, and the writing on the statue, I thought it was really cool. It basically said, and I'm going to make it poetic. It was for those who here fell, or something like that. Someone corrected me, and they're it says, for those who lie here, or something. I'm like, mine's better.
Sure.
But
that was fine. Then we drove up to Nijmegen, and that's where things start to get.
That was a bridge.
Very impressive, right?
Yes.
And this is where the Americans rode across to assault from the other side of the bridge. And the Nijmegen Bridge is mostly a rail bridge, but there's also a footpath on it.
Yep.
And so we were able to kind of park up, walk up, get onto the bridge. You kind of see a
beautiful view.
Yeah, beautiful view. Really interesting part because it goes across this giant river.
Yep.
And there was an island in the middle of the river where a couple people live. I think it's the Vaal.
Yeah.
Yep. And that was so neat.
Mm-hmm.
And just that was very cool. Getting out of there was an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, a little bit.
And then we drove up to Arnhem, which
was amazing.
Arnhem was very, 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 very cool. So we stopped off at the the Airborne Museum there.
Yep.
That's at the hotel that was there at HQ. Hence this. I got this big old first para flag, which I got to figure out where I'm going to put it. But if you've ever watched A Bridge Too Far, right, all that stuff that takes place in that hotel, we went to the real hotel. And the hotel, it looks, it's iconic.
Yeah.
And it's in these nice gardens. And it's basically all a museum inside now. And some of the museum stuff was really interesting. There was a lot of war medals in there and different memorials to people.
They had a remembrance room, and that was, I thought, the best part of the museum.
There was also a lot of stuff about kind of the various different Dutch resistances and Dutch liberation stuff in there that was interesting. And then in the very, very basement, they have like an immersive kind of war experience.
And that was cool. Not as well done as the one at the Airborne Museum in Sainte-Mère-Église,
but conceptually similar, where it's very dark and it's like lots of lights and sounds and displays and and you kind of walk through a ruined Arnhem and there's guys fighting here and there. That was fine. But that was cool to go there because I think that's the kind of place that like my dad would have been annoyed if I hadn't gone there.
Oh, sure.
Because it's famous for the Airborne. But my dad's regiment, the South Staffordshire Regiment, also served in Arnhem, and they won a couple Victoria Crosses there. And he used to talk about it all the time. And his regimental museum has those. Yeah. And there's a big Arnhem display at his regimental museum that we went to all the time. So that was neat to kind of go there and kind of close that loop. That was fun. But then we went into Arnhem proper to go to the bridges. Well, we're going to say bridge singular because that's like the one. And so we kind of parked up underneath the bridge and just kind of walked in and around and up onto it. Yep. And there's a few different monuments kicking around, but it's so interesting.
Well, and it's now been renamed the
John Frost Bridge.
John Frost Bridge. And there was a memorial there to him.
Yes, because so much of the battle scarring is still there.
Yep.
And I took a few different pictures of it of like, yep, here's the shell hole.
Yep.
Here's the bullet holes. Like, so much of that, like, on the old stairs.
On the superstructure of the bridge itself.
Yeah, and it's just like...
Very cool.
In the middle of Arnhem.
Yep.
Like, here's this really
There's
modern
a little
building.
Yeah, bunch of businesses. Yeah.
And that, again, we get into, like, that juxtaposition of the old and the new is something that whole region of Europe is just rife with. But that was, and you also look at the bridge and you're like, they had to take this, and the other side is littered with Germans, like, just...
Yeah. Crazy. Bring up the Piat.
What they were trying to do...
How many times did we say bring up the Piat?
I mean...
Yeah.
A lot.
How many times did we say, well, we can't let you, or we can't handle all of you, or whatever. I can't remember what he said, but... Anyway, that was awesome.
That was really neat, and to kind of have done that, and it doesn't take all that long.
No, we actually
go through that.
We did all 3 bridges in about 4 hours, 3.5 hours, because there's just not a lot there.
Yeah,
right.
And like
we were basically done at like 1:30.
I was interested in like going to the bridges, taking the pictures, and the drives in between them aren't very long either.
Yeah.
Because I'm not driving a column of Shermans.
Well, yeah.
Like
up a tiny road.
We're going up a new autobahn
Being
that they put in.
Yeah.
And so once we were kind of done with that, we then swung back down south to drive down to Essen, which we kind of rolled up to Essen. My brother and his family came to Essen. They usually go every other year, but they came this year because I was there. So thanks, Nathan. Appreciate that. And kind of hung out with them, had some dinner, kind of saw some family. That was fun. And then...
I had schnitzel that I didn't like at that place.
Well...
It was not very good.
We went to a Schnellenbiss. That's not...
Yeah, it wasn't very good.
So I had currywurst.
Yeah.
Yummy. But it was fun to see them, but it was just kind of get ourselves into the hotel, relax a little bit, because it had been a lot of hectic days of that.
Yeah.
And then the next, so we then did Thursday, Friday, Saturday of Essen. And so, again, we were sponsored to go there by Sound of Drums. Huge shout out to Uwe Valentin. Lovely guy, very generous, very much appreciate him providing us the opportunity to do this.
Yep.
So we went to the convention with them, and in their booth it was Sound of Drums, buying and selling and displaying their games. They also had Wolfgang and Eric from Assault Games, who have a kind of a production partnership with Sound of Drums. And they also had the team who, is it Aegir Games, I believe it is?
Yeah, Aegir Games, yeah.
Europa Universalis, the board game. So those were kind of the 3 companies in their very large booth, honestly.
Yeah, very large. 4 tables for gaming.
So the first thing that we did, we kind of rolled up and sat down, and we played this game.
Yeah. And we haven't this is our copy we haven't opened yet, but...
So this is Neither King Nor God, or Neither King Nor God, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And this is a special limited edition run. Yeah. They made a very fixed amount of these, almost as kind of like a primer for a much bigger version of this.
Yep.
But this is like, it's like a faux Civ builder type game, but it's set in kind of that Renaissance Europe area, and we played it 4-player. So we sat down, set it up, and we read the rules. And two guys, one of them had bought a copy, and I was like, "Hey, do you guys speak English?" And they was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "All right, sit down.
Sit down. We're gonna play. Yeah."
And so they're like, "Okay." So we kind of strong-armed into playing it, and we played a full game. We played it one of the short games because there's 3 different sets of rules. You can play short game, medium game, long game. We just played the short games. It's a convention. People got things to do. Unbelievably good.
Oh my
really,
gosh,
really,
this
really,
game's
really,
amazing.
really good.
I was going to open it and show the pieces. But...
The rules are really tight, and the gameplay is really enjoyable.
Yep.
It's one of those games where, like, you know, it's a free-for-all, but after the first turn, we were immediately on top of each other, vying for economic control with supply barrels, started to get into the fighting, the religious war was going off. It didn't have that problem of, like, I spent 3 hours building to get into contact with someone. This was immediately, let's go, go, go. Very, very fun. And it uses that Pericles or Forbidden Star style. Everyone's putting out their different courtiers and stacking them. Hidden, and then we resolve them top
to
down.
bottom. Yeah.
And so that's the engine of it, which I love.
Oh,
it's done
fantastic.
really well in here with all the different types of courtiers that you can have.
And the reality, there were about 8 different types, and it's that concept of, oh, I really want this one to go off, so I've got to hold that back and place that.
And then everyone else knows you're doing that.
I know.
So they're holding off their traitors.
Yeah, because their traitors and their assassins can kill or steal them. So it's like you're trying to play that game of bluff and counter bluff, and it's just very well done. To me, anytime you have that hidden type of information, it just makes for a very interactive and interesting experience.
And thematically, it just works so well, right, with this particular theme of the intrigue and the courtiers. We will do a full review of this on the channel, but, like, they were selling this for $30. And this
29, it's just insane.
Unreal.
Well, and I wanted to open it, but I'm not going to. The production quality of this, recessed boards,
and I think they
wood
said it had
pieces,
300 wooden pieces.
It's just this is easily a $90 game.
Yes,
like easily.
He's selling this, I think, at cost, or he's taking a big old bath on it. But
just
it's
to get it
advertising
out there.
Because there will be a much bigger, bulkier edition. That
I
is
think
more players.
This one plays 4 players. I think that one will do up to 5 or 6.
I think it's going to do 5.
And then there's a bot.
Yes,
the Ottomans.
And it has more layers to it. It's a bit more complex, and it's a bit more of like a Here I Stand type experience. I don't know if it'd be quite that long. But
it's so good.
This worked so well.
It's such a good game.
I loved that.
Yep.
That was wonderful. I think that same day we also played... Did we also play Mare Nostrum?
Mare Nostrum.
The
Oh, yeah, the Dies Irae, or whatever it's called.
That game.
Yeah.
I can't... They have
the ancient civs of the Middle Inner Sea, or
Inner Sea,
whatever it is.
It's a
Mediterranean.
Big hex encounter. Well, the big hex board. And we had tried to play a prototype of it a few years ago, and it was a bit of a nightmare how that all worked out. But someone taught us the game. I ended up just mostly reading the rules.
Well, and frankly, we were doing 95% of it correctly. Like 2 years ago, 3 years, we were doing most of it correctly.
We just didn't
have the pieces and the full rules.
And we didn't have that, like, economic or the progress track. There was just stuff that we didn't have.
Yep. But that was a prototype.
And so we played it again, and it's fine for the people who like that.
Well, it forces you to build up for like 2 hours.
And that's the problem. And so I would never play that unless I was playing what I think they call the Alexander
scenario. Because it puts you in a point where basically where we quit the game, you're at. So you're on top of each other, finally competing for a couple of territories.
A game that punishes inefficiency, I don't need to, like...
3 hours.
Me wailing on you because you goofed 2 hours ago just building up. That's not satisfying.
Yeah.
So set me up so we're already built as maximized and as optimized as we can be, and we're on our borders, and then let us go at it.
Yeah.
And that's the war gamer in me, and I realize that Eurogamers aren't that kind of people, but like that's what I want from that experience. But
and
it was
frankly,
fun to revisit it.
I enjoy the game. I think I will enjoy it more if we play the Alexander scenario.
That's what I want.
But the mechanics are interesting. There's a cool wheel where you can't take a certain action 2 times in a row. Each action can only be taken 5 times in a round. So it forces you to do some other things between developing, moving, attacking, building units.
I liked it a lot better than the
building
first
trading
time I played
posts.
it.
I agree. I actually think it's a solid game if you like those style of games. I guess that's the way I think
that's also the feedback. People love that game.
Yeah.
But to me, I need a later setup.
Yeah, it's just not necessarily
then I'm going to
for
enjoy
me.
it.
Yep. But we did play that that day.
Yeah, and then I think we spent a lot of time walking around, seeing guys. So Knack War Games was there, Phalanx was there.
Osprey was there, Salt and Pepper Games was there. We didn't see them until like Saturday.
Yeah. Did you say Nuts was there?
Nuts was there. We talked to Florent on Saturday.
And it was neat just seeing people, like lots of people came and said hi. So thanks to everyone who came and said hi. I appreciate that as well. Took a lot of pictures with people. And it was, I think, but those were the 2 big games that we played that day, I think. Right?
Yes. Yep.
That was a good time. It was wonderful. Did some shopping. Picked up some bits and pieces.
Yeah,
we
bought a lot of games that we probably didn't need.
Yeah, what do you do?
But that's okay.
Yeah.
And had them shipped back.
Yes.
So we paid a premium to have them shipped back, but
yeah, I didn't have enough space in the luggage for that. But that was it was great. It's definitely a buying convention though.
You can do demos, but it's not like you're sitting down and playing a 4-hour game.
Yeah, there's no tournaments, there's no events, there's no like, oh, go and play Carcassonne for 4 hours. You can't do that. And so if you've been to Gen Con, it's a very similar size to the buying of that, except Gen Con has like all of the...
In the same room.
Yeah, it's all in one
Basically.
space. And then Gen Con also has like all of the table space to like book and play games. And that doesn't exist there. So it really is like a commercial setting. Now you can demo a lot of games, you can do and see a lot of things, but just
we played like 5 or 6 games, so we played a lot of games.
Yeah.
So
like the next day we on the Friday, what did we play on the Friday?
We started with Assault, and I was going to show you these if you want to hold one of these up.
Yes.
So the first thing on Friday, we sat down with Eric and Wolfgang from Assault Games, and we played or was that on Saturday?
You know,
I'm getting it all confused now. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Either way.
It's on the blog, but we played a scenario from Primasol Bridge, which is the expansion to Sicily 43.
Yes.
And they also presented us with these. So this is the original cover of Assault 41, which was published independently by Assault Games. And then this is the 2nd edition copy that's published in cooperation with Sound of Drums. So you can see different art, different look, but they signed these and gave these to us, and I'm going to hang these up on my wall.
But that was fun. It's always fun to kind of revisit a system in a new setting. So we got to play with the British, and it was this headlong assault across Primasol Bridge, attacking a strong point, lining the guys up on the bridge.
Strong point with my service personnel. I think I had 6 units on the board.
Yeah.
2 of which were service personnel, which think of the cooks, porters.
They gave the mess.
They gave them an MP40 and said, get in the trench, right? Get in the fort. But scenario was amazing.
It was good fun.
I love that system. I love custom dice. I love the way the dice work. You get a certain number of dice based on all types from your attack value, whether you're veteran or not. And then you have a defensive roll. So you get defensive rolls for like smoke or terrain or fortifications. You roll off and you compare results. It's just a clean, fun, chaotic, and interesting system.
Yeah, I like the card play in it as
well.
Oh,
I love those cards.
It's just like, and they're just like, hey, you get like 3 command cards. And it's like, ooh, in this phase, do this cool thing. Like they're just events rather than like, it's not a CDG or anything like that. Those were great fun. But that was really fun to sit down with Eric and with Wolfgang to kind of sit down and play their game with them. That's always a fun experience. And they're great guys. So it was great to just kind of do that and sit around and play around and
Yep.
talk strategy, and then like they got to see how we play.
Oh, yeah.
Because whenever we play tactical games, the first thing is like, all right, let's
Attack! Get into close
very
assault.
aggressive, and then get into close assaults, just so we can test them out.
With my Fallschirmjäger, I assaulted the Valentine.
Yes.
That had come into the smoke and were right next to me. I'm like, I'm just going to close assault. It did not go well.
No.
Now, it didn't go well because I rolled like garbage. Had I rolled okay, it would have been fine.
But yeah, they're like, oh wow, you're doing all this stuff. I'm like, no, we like
That's what we are.
We like to play the games aggressively, generally, I think. Yeah. But also like,
I want to test the scenario out.
Whenever we play a tactical game,
yeah,
we got to see the close combat.
Yep, 100%.
So that we can talk about it.
Yep.
And so invariably we do some silly things and like get into a close combat.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
throw them all in, and we're never retreating. We're gonna keep going until someone's dead to see what that looks like.
Well, it was so funny when we were doing it. Wolfgang was like, "You sure you want to do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, yes, this is planned." And he was obviously not wanting us to do that because that's not
He's
tactically
like, technically
sound.
that's stupid. I'm like, no.
Whatever.
But
it works for us.
Academically, it's helpful for us to talk
We're
about.
trying the scenario out. We want to see. And I love that system. I can't wait to get a copy of Primasol and play another couple scenarios because it was just fun.
Well, and I also look forward to the new edition of the base game.
Yep.
Because they've got in like the little wooden smoke counters. And
Yeah,
the wooden
it was cute.
They've just like got some extra bits.
Someone had drawn eyes and feet on it and made it a sheep, which I thought was kind of cute. But yeah, great time. Good to play with those guys. We had a blast.
Yeah.
And that game's amazing.
So we also played Verdun.
Yep.
From, who makes this?
Dragon Dawn
Productions. So, friend of the show, one of our patrons, Asbjorn, wonderful guy. He was demoing this game with his friends at Dragon Dawn Games. What a cool...
This game is amazing.
So this is it's a card game.
It's a trick-taking card game.
It's a little trick-taking card game, and one of you is the French, one of you is the Germans. Yeah. Here's my line of fortifications, here's your line of fortifications, and you just pick the lanes, you fight a trick over that lane. Did you take the lane or not? Yes or no? Now, when you flip those over, after you've successfully assaulted, you'll get some victory points. Yeah, was it worth anything? Yes or no?
Some of them are worth 1, some are worth like 5.
Some of them have different hidden modifiers on them.
Yeah.
And you have this hand of cards, and it's how much you want to commit to that. But also, like, there's French and German cards, and there are times where I, as the German player, want to play French cards.
Yep.
Because I am trying to inflict more losses on you, because I'm abandoning this, I don't care. Or you're doing the same thing. Or I'm playing in a bunch of French cards so that I can then play an artillery and just kill everyone.
Yeah, 100%.
Or there's like,
there's just a lot of very interesting elements to that where you're doing things that you probably wouldn't want to do normally in another game, but in this it works in the system.
Whilst it's a trick-taking game, the take on this trick-taking feels very fresh.
Yes.
Because we've played a lot of different trick-taking games.
Yep.
And, like the Lord of the Rings trick-taking game, I love that game.
Oh, I love that game.
Do you remember The Crew?
Oh, I love The Crew.
It's basically identical, though,
Yeah.
Right? The rules are effectively the same thing. It's just
this is very different.
This is very different. And the feel of what you're doing is very different, and it's really, really cool. Yeah. And the best part of this game is you have to play 2 cards per trick, but you only draw 1.
Yep.
And so what you get over the course of this game, you got all this cool stuff. I'm so powerful at the beginning. Yeah. You will expend your forces and you will expend your choices, and then the game is over.
Yep. And I think you started with 12 cards, if I remember correctly.
It was something like that, yeah.
And you drew, I want to say it ended up being ultimately like 9 rounds.
Yeah.
We ended up with like 18 cards.
Whatever the math
was.
Like that. But it ended up such that
cards or 22.
You played them all, but your choices and probably your strength dwindled.
100%.
Because you played all your good cards at strategic points.
Yeah.
And those last few hands, your strength peters out as the Battle of Verdun is done.
Yeah.
And it
the last silly. 2 turns we were playing like 2s and 3s because we didn't have anything else.
And it's like, the agency's removed from the game. Sure. But also thematically,
it's so amazing.
I felt that it was so good.
Yeah.
And I've been thinking about this game a lot.
Yeah.
Because it was...
We'll have to play it again.
there's nothing quite like it that I've played, but it's that
Yeah.
those last two hands were almost some of the most, I'm gonna say, satisfying.
Yeah, well, painful as well.
Yeah, but because it's so thematic
Yeah.
in a card game. Like
Yeah,
what
yeah.
it does is so neat. Of like, yeah, we've totally expended ourselves. I've got a literal pile of dead guys,
Yep.
and this is all a negative score to me.
Yep.
And here's what I've got left as one last like pathetic, useless go over the top.
Yeah.
And like the tragedy of that,
Yeah.
and you're just like, here's what I've got.
Yep.
And they do it, and you probably nothing will happen.
Yep.
But thematically, it puts into focus, this isn't just a little trick-taking game. There's a lot of really intense thought that went into this.
Yeah.
And it works really well.
Well, to me, after seeing what we saw at Verdun and then playing this game, I was like, wow. Like, they nailed it.
They really
They
did.
literally nailed it. And I backed this on Kickstarter. It was about a $25 game. It had like a little expansion and some upgraded components. So I went ahead and got the upgraded, like the whistle, the over-the-top whistle. And
sure.
these are the fortification values.
They're like wooden instead of cardboard.
Yeah, they're wooden. But the card art on this is so beautiful.
Well, it's all
Original
like propaganda posters and stuff.
The cards are fantastic. Ren Multamaki is the designer. I asked Björn, hey, are you guys doing more of this kind of game? And he's like, unfortunately, no.
Yeah, they're an eclectic company, and they happened to do a war game.
This is a surprise game of the year for me. It was just that good.
Yeah, it's
just that good.
I highly recommend this.
Yep.
Because A, you can play it with anyone who doesn't take very long to play, but also like when you really consider the design choices that went into it, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And it really does a lot in a
very small game.
It's very, very, very cool.
Yep. Yeah, I'm glad I backed it, and I'm glad we got to play it, and that Björn was able to, or Asbjorn was able to teach it to us. So if you don't know anything about Verdun by Dragon Dawn Publications, I would look into it. This was really a solid game.
You've got to go check that out.
So good.
Now the days are starting to blend.
Yes, they are.
I think we're just going to talk about what it is
Well,
that we did.
after that, we did see Echo Team Spearhead.
Yes.
From a new company called Black Mask. And I think Black Mask Verlag. Verlag's like a German term.
Yeah, it means like it's a
company.
type of company or LLC.
Right, so it'd be like LLC.
Yeah.
So it's Black Mask, and the guy's name is Christian Blusemann.
Oh, I can't remember.
It's got like a weird symbol. I'm corresponding with him, and I can't remember his name. Sorry.
Does it look like a B?
It does.
Okay,
yes.
That's an S set.
Okay.
It's a double S basically.
But great young guy, has always wanted to create a game, so he created this publishing company. He does not speak a ton of English.
No, but his
girlfriend does.
And they mostly do RPGs.
They mostly do RPGs.
And now he's making a modern tactical game.
But it looks so amazing. It is one of the most beautifully produced games I've ever seen. The way he made the maps, he took GIS satellite images of these areas and then made boards of them.
Yeah,
and they're so cool.
We didn't get to play it.
We didn't play it.
Because but he just had it on display, and he kind of walked us through the stuff, because it was kind of in this tiny little corner. But yeah, the maps are like, it's photos from like an aerial company.
It's amazing.
And then he's superimposed like spaces onto them.
Aren't they hexes?
No, it's just areas.
Yep.
But then, and then like each side has a mission book.
Yep.
And so, hey, you have to go and free the hostages from this building.
Yep.
And these guys are like, hey, the hostages aren't there.
Yeah.
So mark on the map where they are. But you don't know that.
So you have to go to the building.
You have no idea that they're not there.
And realize they're not there, and then you have to find them.
And you got to figure it out.
Yeah.
And like but you can attack the game however you want.
Yep.
It's like, hey, if you want to come in on a boat, or you want to fly in by the Black Hawk, or do you want to drive in a Humvee and then hop out? Like,
there's all different types of assets and capabilities that you can use to get what you need to get.
Yeah. And
it just looks really amazing.
It looks very cool, and I really liked his design, or his mapping ethos, where he's like, we got these amazing aerial images, and I put the overlays on them, and you get what you get.
Yeah.
And I think about something like Combat Commander or even something like Assault, where it's like some of these scenarios, it's like, hey, we drew this really balanced map, and here's these balanced forces to like do that. Here he's like, oh,
Yep.
like you got to figure it out, and sometimes it's gonna be real difficult.
Yep.
Like here's the map, and I thought that I like that as an element to explore.
I think he has approached it not necessarily. I don't know how to say this, but I got from the conversation that absolutely it's not totally 100% balanced, but it can be if you do it well.
Yeah, like,
does that make sense?
I think everything's winnable and doable.
Yeah,
but he's
you've
like,
got to do it well.
Yeah, like there are some maps and games that you play where you're like, oh, I move here. Oh, look, this thing very conveniently blocks the line of sight from this thing, or like, oh, you can tell when a map is manufactured. You can.
These are actual real worlds, and he's like, you got to deal with it.
Yep.
If you're in an open crossfire from 3 different positions and you've got to get across to the other side, you got to figure out how to do that.
Or
deploy smoke,
plan better.
or deploy smoke, or call in some artillery, or jump on the chopper, or use the boat. I mean, that's going to be fascinating.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a tactical puzzle.
And that's on GameFound, I believe.
It is. It's currently on GameFound. He's about 3/4 of the way funded.
I hope people go and check it out because it looks amazing.
We backed it. I went ahead and backed it. But yeah,
I think
Echo
there's going to be something
Team
special there.
Spearhead. So we got to look at that. Beautiful, great looking game. We then went to Phalanx.
Yes.
And we played the first day, and I didn't open this, 1920 Nest of Eagles.
Yes.
And you might be saying, well, what the hell is this? Well, this is the Soviet invasion of Poland in the 1920s. And it's exactly like it sounds.
Yep.
The Polish are on the defensive. They are not necessarily ready or prepared. They have a lot of reinforcements that kind of come in, and you got to get them up to the front. The Germans are pretty powerful. They outnumber them.
The Russians.
I'm sorry, Russia.
Different war.
Yeah, Russians are out very powerful, and it's a hex encounter, kind of a traditional war game that has very unique zones of control. They're not sticky.
Yes, it's lines of control, whatever they were called.
Lines of friction is what they're called, but they're basically zones of control.
But I think the most interesting part of this game also is that you have a dynamic turn sequence.
Yes.
Where there's reaction move phases that you can opt into or out of.
But they limit or set your choices, which I thought was fascinating.
Yeah.
And you sometimes want to do it to deny your opponent from being able to do something they want to do.
Yeah, well, like, oh, I'm doing this. I don't necessarily want to, but if I don't...
I'm dying.
They will get the jump on me and steal a march.
Yeah.
This was very, very cool.
It was very good.
We'll do another full review of this on the channel for sure, because it was really neat.
I definitely want to play... They mentioned the other... Like, we played the intro scenario.
Yes.
I want to do a little bit more of
the Kiev scenario.
The bigger... This game was just fun.
Yeah, it was...
It was just really fun.
This was very, very
the designer.
Cool. Is it not Yaroslav? I think.
Okay, so the guy that we met with.
Yeah, it's Yarrow. It's his. It's his game.
But Yarrow didn't teach us the game. That was that was their CEO. Gumieni, I think was his. So he taught us the game. Yaroslav was not there.
I think I met Yarrow at UK Games Expo a few days ago.
But I'm going to be honest. This was way better than I thought it would be.
I mean, I thought it would be good, but
I thought it would be good. But after playing it, I'm like, damn, I was still thinking about it.
This does a lot of really, really interesting tactical things.
Yes.
It's very, very cool. And again, it's a neat way to get into a piece of history that I've not played a game on.
I didn't know anything about. Yep.
I think I have.
So anyway, Phalanx, really good game. I very much enjoyed that. Had a good time with it, frankly. I think the next day.
Well, so
we've gotten out of order a little bit.
Yeah, and I just, my memory's not that good. So we went to dinner on Friday night.
Yes.
With with Cleo.
Yep.
And Cleo's friend Michael, and then also Michael from Board Game Chronicles.
Yes.
So Cleo from Cleo's Board Games, and Michael from Board Game Chronicles. They were both there. We went to dinner with them.
At Wiener Wunder.
At Wiener Wunder.
That was so good.
Unbelievably good restaurant.
Oh my gosh.
Great food. Absolutely stunning. But it was great company and it was a really good time. So thanks to those guys for coming to dinner with us and kind of organizing that and kind of inviting us. That was really fun too.
And we had a great time talking and just hanging out, and the food was really good.
Yeah, it was.
So the next day, and like you said, the days are starting to run together. We played Punica. It's like a 30-minute card-driven style, not necessarily card-driven. It's not card-driven. It uses cards in battles.
No.
But they also give
those
you
are
movements.
your actions. It kind of is.
Fascinating game.
This is really, really good.
And it plays in 30 minutes. I mean, it's literally a quick, it says 20 minutes, but 20 to 30 is what it plays in.
But basically, like, you have a very, very limited number of troops and fleets. And it's
you don't get reinforcements at all.
And it's a very small board, and you have like 7 cards.
Yep.
And you play your cards to, you're either discarding them to like take an action, or you're doing the actions on the cards. And every time you play them, you put it down. You can't pick that up until you've played all your cards. And then the last one you put down, you pick up the rest of them. So you don't have this card for your hand, and you go through this again. The last card you play out of your hand, you put away, and you pick up this other one and all the rest of them. And so there's that action economy part of it that I really, really like. But it's also just a really tight war game.
Yep.
It's a very small, congested map. You don't have a lot of pieces, and when your pieces start dying, it's probably going to snowball really quickly. And so you're playing cards for like moving and actions, but then you also play them for combat. I'm gonna play a card face down, add that number to combat. Some of the cards also have a combat effect, which can bring in more reinforcements, or can like make you do something else, or initiate another battle somewhere else.
Or even play another card.
And so it's a very tight knife edge game, and then in 20 minutes it's over.
Yep.
And then you set it up and play again, or you swap sides. There we go. Switch sides, swap sides. We got there in the end. Really, really enjoyable. We played this at the demo table at their booth with a guy who clearly doesn't play war games.
Yeah, it was kind of funny.
like he was like, oh, just like figure out the game. Like, this might sound a certain way. For us, this is a very simple game for us to digest.
Yeah, we jump on this and we're in it.
He explained the rules, and I immediately know what I was doing.
Oh yeah.
And so I played hyper aggressively. And
he was kind of
the other poor guy was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And then after like 2 hands, he was like, okay, I think I'm done with it. Like, I don't like it.
He's obviously a Euro gamer that wants to turtle.
That's great.
But
and
we got a copy. I want to play it because I didn't necessarily get to play it.
Yeah, it's very fun.
And it's beautiful. I mean, this is the same style of art that I've seen in some of the more Euro-focused games, but it's just gorgeous.
Yeah, whilst it's not the same as, it's a similar type of game to something like 300 Earth and Water.
Yeah.
Also something like Paolo Mori's Blitzkrieg
and Caesar.
Yeah, like those are very different abstract style games, but it's that short, punchy 30 minutes really tight game.
You're going to play that 3 times in an hour, and then
that's
in the night.
Perfect lunchtime game, for sure. And then we also played Europa Universalis.
Yes, forgot it. Yep.
Okay.
Well, we played it with the new expansion called Denying Destiny.
Defying
Destiny. Which was a big improvement for us.
Yes.
And made the game, I thought, something that I definitely want to play again.
It also helps that the designer teaches you the game.
That helps.
And he had because we were like, we'll sit down and play it. Yeah. He had specifically set up the scenario so that we would like it.
Yeah.
And it worked. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. And there's a few scenarios that he recommended as well. But basically, it's the same problem with kind of the Mare Nostrum thing of like, when we played it with 6 people, I think.
And for 3.5 hours, we never came in contact.
And like, it's a very dense rule book, and then we still like didn't do anything. Because it's whereas he set us up right on top of each other.
Yep.
Immediately in friction, immediately like we like declared war on each other a whole bunch, had all sorts of casus bellis.
You mentioned the one guy that didn't like it with Punica. I think the one guy that was Bohemia, I think he also was like, oh, this guy's kicking my ass. And I thought it was funny. So I came to his aid because I'm like, I didn't want you to destroy him.
Yeah, and I would have done.
Yeah.
But it was such a better experience than we
100%.
had had.
Well, and it also clicked for me a lot more than I think initially it did.
Yeah. but we were doing the stuff that we enjoy in the game.
Right.
Instead of just the
build-up.
I'm like 5 regions away, and I have to get to all these provinces before I come into contact with someone.
Right.
But the actions were clicking a bit better because we've played it once, and then he taught the rules, and I felt like I had a better understanding of what I should be doing with that prior experience. I don't have it with me, but they gave us a scenario book as well that no one's going to have for about 3 months.
Oh, nice.
Which is really neat. But again, he also gave advice of like, hey, here's a couple different scenarios. Like, these are the ones you should do. Because we'd set up a big 6-player game, and it just sets you... You're so disparate with location. Yeah. And it's, for me, boring.
Right.
It's boring to sit here...
And build up.
Do the very repetitive actions of just building.
Yeah.
Whereas when we were immediately kind of on top of each other, the whole menu of actions is open to you.
Well, and decisions are forced upon you.
And
tough decisions.
And it's tense, and it's difficult. It was an infinitely better experience.
Yep.
But I would also only ever play it in those kinds of scenarios. Mm-hmm. That part of it's still not changed for me. But like, if I'm playing those scenarios, I would play that.
Right.
And I will play that, and we'll get a copy of it and do more of it, I think.
Yeah.
Which, if you'd have asked me that a year ago, I would never have said that was the case.
Yeah.
So,
well, and if you watched our videos, we didn't tear the game apart.
No.
There were a lot of things that we liked. Overall, the pace was what we didn't like. And what I mean by the pace is the lots of downtime, and it's like, oh, I'm building up. I'm just building an army here. I'm making a vassal here. I'm doing a marriage here. And there were 10 countries between us. I'm exaggerating.
And I think the difference between 4 and 6 was a big difference pace of play-wise. The actions came around a lot quicker. But also, that little bit of prior experience and having the designer there to teach you helps with like the actions keep moving along.
Yeah.
So that helped significantly. Now I've kind of got that base of knowledge. I think playing that more will be a much more rewarding experience.
Yeah.
But again, I would only ever do those much more kind of developed setups.
Yep.
That's just a
100%. And I think that the Defying Destiny is exactly that, because the board is smaller.
Yes.
It puts you in contact. I think the scenarios are designed to be that.
Yes.
So if you want to do the turtling, slow build, slow burn, you can do the other game. This game looks like it's more accelerated.
Yes.
Which is what I think we would be looking for.
Yeah, I agree. But that was also really
awesome.
Enjoyable. I had a really good time with that.
Yep.
In a way that I was really pleased and a little bit surprised with as well.
Yeah.
Like that was very, very cool to kind of revisit that and get a very different experience out of it. That's for sure.
So let's talk about NAC.
Yeah. So NAC War Games are there.
Long in the tooth.
Well, this is very long. So this is the Republic's Struggle, which they gave us a review copy of. I was very gracious for. This is Twilight Struggle, the Spanish Civil War.
I'm very excited.
It's more like 1989, the Spanish Civil War. I'm very excited for this. I've had to flip through the rules.
Okay.
And they seem to be very well translated, is what I would say. And the components look great. But
is this a...
That's just like a...
Oh, okay.
Like a...
Ooh, I didn't know if it was a special card.
No. So, NAC War Games, they had a massive booth.
Yes.
With a ton of games.
Yes.
And I was like, I could have bought one of everything there. It would have been very expensive, but I could have done.
Yep.
Because they had so much cool stuff. They had their Berlin game. They had von Manstein's Triumph, is that what it's called? They had Republic Struggle. They had Astoria, I think is what it was, which is like a war game about the northern front of the Spanish Civil War. They had a couple medieval Reconquista games.
El Rey Planeta and something else.
The Charge of the Three Kings or something like that.
Yes.
And
then they had The Other Side of the Hill. Which,
the Charge of the Three Kings is the same battle as Las Navas de Tolosa.
It is, yes.
Which I saw, I didn't know... Yes. I was just looking at the amazing artwork, and then I read the subtitle. I was like, "Oh, we've played a game on that."
Yeah.
And that game looks incredible.
It does.
That's the one I definitely want to get. But they had so many cool games, and it was like, okay, let's figure this out. So that might be a very big online order at some point. because
But we definitely want to play this one, but I've had
so many of those were new as well.
Oh yeah,
which is cool.
I've had some experience with NAC. I've done some communications and interviews with their designers. Oh, Berlin 45 was the other one.
Yes,
but we've never played one of their games. So I was grateful that they gave us this review copy. We shipped it home, and we'll definitely give it a play and hopefully acquire some of those others.
Yeah, there's a couple on Noble Knight, but not all of them.
Got it.
But yeah, that was really cool seeing. I'll be honest, a lot of like at least seeing the boxes and the components all out on display of a lot of stuff that was like new.
Well, and they're gorgeous.
And most of them are like recent games too.
Yes.
There was a lot of 24s and 25s.
I think everything that was on that table was new with the exception of the El Rey Planeta and the Charge of the Three Kings. Yeah. I think those are like games from a year or two ago. Everything else though was pretty much new.
But I think that's part of what was really cool about Essen is seeing like some Euro publishers that like Sound of Drums, like Knack War Games, Salt and Pepper were there, like guys who we don't get to see a lot of in-person exposure of. I'm buying them online, but meeting those guys, seeing their games on display, that was really, really enjoyable.
It was.
For sure.
One other comment I want to make about Salt and Pepper. So we met Gonzalo Santa Cruz. I think he's the owner. Really great to talk to him. I've played multiple of his games. We've played The Hunt together.
Yeah.
I did Onoda. There's another game we have.
Resistance.
Yeah. Resist by David Thompson and Trevor Benjamin. Those are great solo games. They're in a small box, so they're this size.
Yeah.
But they're big games in a small box. Like The Hunt, I love The Hunt. I thought that was very great. But they have a new game coming up called Queen of Spies. It is a collaboration between David Thompson, and Liz Davidson from Solitaire or Beyond Solitaire. I think she now works for Cole Worley and the Whirligig Games. But they're designing this game, and it's on the spy ring during World War I in Belgium, occupied Belgium.
Okay.
So I've got a copy of that. It's a solo game, so I'm going to give it a play, but it looks really good. It's coming to GameFound, I believe, in late November.
Yeah.
Early December, something like that. So
yeah,
we saw them, and that was great.
That was fun because it was like, we kind of went over there, and there was like a bunch of people coming up to like pick up their pre-ordered games and stuff. It was like, it's good to see they was busy.
Yeah, he was very busy. We also bought some miniatures for our new role-playing game that's coming up.
Yeah, I bought. So it's funny. I go to a lot of the game stores around here and look online, but like this.
Is that rope?
It's barbed wire.
Oh, nice. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I want to open that and feel it.
So, but like, there's nothing quite like going to like the stands where they're selling this stuff, and it's the bits. It's the bits that you get. Like, I got a box of walls. I'm not going to go out of my way to buy a box of walls. Sure. But when I'm here buying some of the bits, maybe I get some walls. I got a set of 15mm French commanders for Napoleonic's epic. I got. You know what's funny? I got a Dodge.
Oh yeah.
They had a resin Dodge there, and I was like, "Yep, we're getting it."
Yeah.
I picked up a Japanese support team, so they have like a
island assault team.
Yeah, heavy mortar, heavy machine gun,
a Chiha,
a medic, and a couple of different commanders. Because I already have that box, but I bought a separate little one.
Oh, okay,
So all the little metal guys.
Oh yeah.
That's what I got at them.
Got it.
So,
and you got
because
a big pill box.
This is mostly just soldiers.
Look at that big pill box.
Yeah. That was the big.
Oh, okay.
I got that too.
Okay. I was paying attention. I wasn't not paying it. I was looking at other miniatures.
And then they also had some cool dice.
Sure.
So I got some Roman numeral dice for our Ancients games.
Yep.
You have some hammer and sickle dice somewhere.
Yeah, because I didn't have very much.
I've got those kicking around. Yep. To give you. But yeah, it's just fun going to this, and it's like you rifle through the weird stuff that you otherwise can't find online easily or in like the big box stores, and it's those stuffs that like that's the fun stuff to me.
Yeah, 100%.
Where you get like the unique bits that go on the table, or that like, oh, I can use that in a role-playing adventure. So we've got war stories coming at some point.
And that's why we bought that, so that we could play that role-playing game in the future.
Yes.
With the miniatures.
Yes. But yeah.
But I think that's pretty much everything that we did.
That's definitely the broad strokes of what we did.
I had a great time, not only on our European trip, but I thought Spiel Essen was amazing.
Yeah, it was good fun. We met a lot of really nice people.
Yep.
A lot of people came up to talk to us.
Yeah, I bet we had about 15, which I was shocked by.
Yeah, because it's a very Euro game convention. But it was really neat to kind of meet everyone, say hi, just to hang out with the Sound of Drums and the Assault Games guys as well.
Top-notch guys.
Just, it was a really fun experience. It was a really fun convention, and it was a great trip altogether. And I highly recommend doing anything like what we did as well.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And now we got to figure out how to do this again in a few years' time.
Yeah. Well, we kind of talked in the next 2 or 3 years, I'd like to try to maybe go back and go to a different part. Maybe go to southern Germany.
Yeah.
And eastern Germany, like Berlin and that area.
Berlin's fun, but
not much there.
There's a lot of stuff that's very different.
Okay.
Very different from what we experienced, that's for sure. But yeah, like I've never been to the south. Like I've never been to Munich and Bavaria. I'd like to do that. Maybe hop over to Vienna and Austria.
I would like to see the Berlin Wall. I assume there's something still left somewhere.
I'll be honest, Grant. Most of it's still
okay.
there.
I would love to go there and walk that and see that and experience that. So to me, we got to go to Berlin. We have to.
So
I want to see that.
Apropos of nothing, I met a lady whose back garden was the Berlin Wall.
Okay, nice.
Because the further outside of like the city that you got, the more the wall was like just a border, basically.
Got it. But so they didn't guard it and were going to shoot you when you got close to it.
Well, they did.
Okay.
But like you had to go down to the command post. So this lady, her story was like her cat just kept hopping over the wall, and so she'd have to go like a mile down the road to the gate and be like, "Hey, look, my cat went over the wall." Like, "Oh yeah, what's up, Margaret? We'll go get your cat." And like the wall's just like not there anymore, and like that's not. That's funny. The Berlin Wall is such a fascinating piece of history of like how important it was, and then the next day it wasn't. It's unreal.
So I definitely want to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's still a lot to see and explore in the world, and being able to do it through the lens of what we do here is also very enlightening.
Very cool. Yeah.
So this was an extremely long video, I realized that, but thank you very much everyone for tuning in and supporting the channel, which enables us to do this kind of thing. I've been Alexander with PlayerSaid.com.
And I'm Grant.